The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
Good morning. The Teachers Union president fears a possible teacher shortage. The government says it's working to resolve concerns of taxi drivers. And in business, we're talking with the Department of Inland Revenue about short-term rentals. It's all straight ahead this morning. I'm Dwight Strachan, and this is Morning Blend.
Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. Don't you know that it's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up.
Good morning again, Bahamas. It is Thursday, August 21st, 2025. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Again, I'm Dwight Strachan. In a moment, Laverne Gardner will be joining us. Also this morning, we're talking with the Catherine Florence Initiative about their writings, their work in regards to marital rape and abortion in the country. That's all ahead, but first, it's time for the overnight, the latest breaking news from while we're sleeping, and the top national and international headlines this morning. In the overnight, 3 people have been charged, and police are looking for 3 other suspects after a 14-year-old girl was allegedly gang raped last week. 23-year-old Tarleton Curtis, 18-year-old Henrico McPhee, and a 15-year-old boy facing charges of forcible taking and having unlawful sexual intercourse when they made their initial court appearance before Senior Magistrate Algernon Allen Jr. on Wednesday. The charges stem from an incident at a home in the inner city of New Providence on August 14th. The accused were not required to enter pleas to the charges since they will stand trial in the Supreme Court. They were denied bail, and the matter was adjourned to November 11th for the presentation of a voluntary bill of indictment. Bahamas Union of Teachers President Belinda Wilson is concerned about a possible shortage of teachers going into the new school year. The Ministry of Education, Technical and Vocational Training welcomed more than 70 new teachers, teachers' aides, and guidance counselors during its orientation ceremony at Stephen Dillett Primary School in New Providence yesterday. Although Wilson expressed satisfaction with the new teachers being brought on, she's urging others to give the secondary education program a try. As the Bahamas Taxi Cab Union threatened industrial action over complaints that its members are being forced out of tourist hotspot areas, Minister of Energy and Transport JoBeth Colby-Davis, well, the ministry at least, is saying that it is working to address concerns, noting tension between the B2 and the drivers union. The ministry says it is, quote, committed to a fair and sustainable transportation sector, and said it has been meeting with the unions to find a solution that takes into account both groups' interests. The Bahamas Communications and Public Officers Union and the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas signing a 4-year industrial agreement, including an overall salary increase of 6%, increased maternity and paternity leave, and updated health care benefits and mental health leave. The signing is the first between the BCB and the BCPOU since 2019, when both parties signed a 3-year agreement. BCB Executive Chairman Paisel Forbes expanding on the benefits, saying that maternity leave, again, is going to be increased. Paternity leave as well, and increments in salary are going to be given much consideration in the new contract. Under the agreement, maternity leave for mothers will increase from 12 weeks to 13. The Davis administration's dismissive response to the Fiscal Responsibility Council's annual report, according to Michael Pintard, F&M leader, proves that it is, quote, an enemy of transparency and accountability. Pintard promised that an F&M government would do better, his words, and ensure that watchdog entities like the council are, quote, properly resourced, truly independent, and able to carry out their duties within the timeline set by the law. Report, the FRC said the entire categories of legally required information, such as annual plans for public entities, statements, or corporate intent for government business enterprises, and limits on government guarantees are missing. The FRC gaps in how the government reports on its investment projects, particularly as it regards public-private partnerships. Overseas, Russia launching one of its biggest aerial attacks of the year on Ukraine, firing 574 drones and 40 ballistic and cruise missiles overnight, while a recent diplomatic push to stop the three-year war is trying to gain momentum. The attack mostly targeted western regions of the country, according to the Ukrainian Air Force. This is where much of the military aid provided by Ukraine's western allies is believed to be delivered and stored. The strikes killed at least one person and injured 15 others. It was Russia's third largest aerial attack this year in terms of the number of drones fired, and the eighth largest in terms of missiles. Most Russian attacks have hit civilian areas. The strikes occurred during a renewed neighbor. U.S. President Donald Trump discussed the war with Russian President Vladimir Putin in Alaska last week, and at the start of the week hosted Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and European leaders at the White House. In sports, Obama's Billie Jean King Cup team continues to roll at the America's Zone 3 tournament in El Salvador. The team's undefeated streak moved to 3 against Jamaica, whom they defeated 2-1 in their third tie of group play. The national team managed to go unbeaten with a 3-0 win-loss record in Group B to advance to the promotional playoffs. Head coach Kim O'Kelly proud to see the girls win their third straight matchup. The Bombs' women's national volleyball team fought valiantly but unable to pull off a victory against Jamaica, the defending champions in the Kazova Senior Volleyball Championships going on right here in Nassau at the Kendall Isaacs Gym. The defending champions, Jamaica, handed the home team a 3-1 loss to advance to the semifinals. Team Bahamas is currently 0-3 in their win-loss record at the regional tournament. And the Aimless Swimmer is returning to action on day 2 of the 2025 World Aquatics Junior Swimming Championships in Romania. Ellie Gibson, Celeste Gibson, Caden Wells, and Zoe Williamson teaming up to compete in the mixed 4x100-meter relay, the medley relay. The quartet pulling off a second-place finish in Heat 1 with a time of 4:13.78. They finished the heats ranked 22nd overall out of 37 teams. 18-year-old E. Gibson is also in action in the men's 100-meter butterfly, swimming in lane 5 of Heat 4. He turned in a 9th-place finish in 59.51 seconds, placing 68th overall out of 85 swimmers. More on how Team Bahamas is doing in today's Guardian Sports section. That's sports, and that's the overnight. Time for your first look at weather. Your Your first look at weather brought to you by Star General. Lingering moisture from Hurricane Erin out in the Atlantic will continue to support shower and thunderstorm activity across the Bahamas, while ridging builds across the area behind Erin, bringing with it warmer temperatures and more stable conditions. So the lingering residual moisture will support a few showers and thunderstorms across the northern and northwest Bahamas through Saturday. Very warm conditions will happen through these few days, with drier conditions returning across the area by Sunday. So there is an extremely high risk of life-threatening rip currents, dangerous high seas, and very rough surf along Atlantic exposures. Residents and beachgoers across all islands, especially Atlantic exposed coastlines, should stay out of the water due to the overtopping waves. And again, motorists and pedestrians should exercise caution while on coastal roadways like the Glass Window Bridge in Eleuthera due to very large, dangerous sea swells and waves that can break as high as 12 to 14 feet. And another hot day in store, we're looking at UV and heat indices in some dangerous territory. So everyone's being advised to remain hydrated, wear protective clothing, and seek shaded areas during peak daylight hours. UV indices will begin to approach high to extreme values, and heat indices in the triple digits again today. So for today, forecast for the northern and northwest Bahamas, partly sunny today, becoming partly cloudy by early afternoon into tonight. A 20 to 30% chance of scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms. Wind southwest to west at 10 to 15 knots, decreasing to 10 knots by this evening. For the central and southeast Bahamas, partly to variably cloudy, turning fair tonight with a 20% chance of showers and isolated thunderstorms. Winds southwesterly at 10 knots, falling light and variable at times by this evening for the central islands. Southeasterly at 10 to 15 knots, falling light and variable at times for the southeastern islands. Temperatures today look for highs around 93 Fahrenheit, 34 Celsius, but the heat index will make you feel like it's 108 Fahrenheit, 42 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to 82 Fahrenheit, 28 Celsius. That's your first look at weather this morning. More on the tropics and what we can expect over the next few days in your extended outlook coming up in just a bit. This weather check brought to you by Star General Insurance, made simple.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way.
You are listening to Morning. When we come back, we're discussing the day's top story right here on your home for fresh news and smart talk all day. 96.9.
It's a new day.
When it comes to heartache, you can't miss a beat. Seek the best care possible. Works and leave no stone unturned to get to the heart of matter. Because it's always the first step to overcoming for every heart in the world. See how we're advancing the future of heart care at Cleveland Clinic today.
Looking to elevate your gadget game, or are tech troubles simply slowing you down? Escape to a world of innovation at Custom Computers, your go-to store for the latest cutting-edge tech. Whether you need to upgrade your life with the best from Apple and Windows, or your device needs a little TLC, the Custom Computers Know-How Store is the destination for unbeatable expertise and quality repairs. With 2 convenient locations, there's a Custom Computers near you on Patton Street in Palmdale and Cades Village, or call 396-1100.
Running low on summer funds? Squeeze every drop of fun out of your summer with a Fidelity personal loan. From backyard upgrades to family getaways, Fidelity is here to help. Call 356-7764 today.
Fidelity, we're good for you.
Wake up, it's a new day.
Ready to to catch the thrill and win with Shell. Fuel up with $20 or more and unlock your shot at unforgettable prizes.
We're talking regatta trips to Exuma and Harbor Island.
Free fuel, grocery vouchers, water park passes, and more. Just snap your receipt and WhatsApp it to us at 242-422-0271. The vibes are high, the prizes are hot, and the summer is yours to win with Shell. Only at participating Shell stations in Nassau. Now through August 22nd. Terms and conditions apply.
Back to school just got easier at Carey's Fabric and Uniform Store on Mackey Street. We've got school shirts with official embroidered logos for R.M. Bailey, S.C. McPherson, A.F. Adderley, Kingsway, Queens College, L.W. Young, and many more. From shirts and blouses to jumpers, skirts, shorts, and pants, we've got uniforms for almost every school in the Bahamas. So, skip the stress and shop at Carey's today. Call us at 393-0758 or 817-0758. That's Carey's Fabric and Uniform Store, where back-to-school shopping is a breeze.
Let me see now. 326 ETIC. Hello? This Epic battery. This Miss Beulah from around the corner. I hear you're selling tires now on Wolf Road too.
Praise the Lord. Time. I live Fox Hill and Fire Trail. It's too far.
That ain't all. They open Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. On Sunday and holiday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m.
My brother Sam, he's a hacker, and he could go right there and get fixed up.
Call us at 326-EPIC. We ship also to the Family Island.
Maybe it's time to explore your options. There's no harm in reviewing your mortgage arrangement and considering a better deal. CIBC Caribbean can help you narrow your search and decide. Switch your mortgage to CIBC Caribbean and enjoy a special interest rate and help towards your switching cost. Visit CIBCFCIB.com/inspired home for more information. Conditions apply.
No one likes a fender bender.
Oh, man.
From a little scratch to a full mashup, NUA Insurance has got you covered with auto insurance tailored to fit your needs and budget. For affordable rates with free on-site accident assistance, visit us online or in branch and just ask us. NUA Insurance. Ask us because we've got you covered.
Looking for your dream job in paradise? At Royal Beach Club Paradise Island, we're hiring. And with over 200 positions available, we're confident you'll find your perfect fit. Whether you're passionate about keeping guests safe as a lifeguard, or if mixing up refreshing cocktails as a bartender is more your speed, there's a spot waiting just for you. Visit Royal Beach Club at paradiseisland.com/career to explore openings and apply today.
Who's the real MVP of the soil, the hero of the harvest? The Agrarian Awards 2025 is here, and we want you to nominate the farmer who's growing greatness in your community. 8 categories up for grabs and a chance to win up to $50,000 in cash prizes. Brought to you by the Ministry of Culture and Marine Resources and the Agricultural Development Organization, honoring the hands that feed the nation. Visit adobahamas.org to submit your nomination for the Agrarian Awards 2025.
This is how we do it.
Get ready to kick off the new school year with a bang. It's the Guardian Media Group and Rotary Club of South Ocean's Back to School Jamboree. Friday, August 29th in the parking lot of the Nassau Guardian in Oaksville, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Join us for a day of fun, games, and back-to-school excitement. We've got something for everyone, from bouncing castles and face painting to health screenings, hair grooming, and giveaways. Meet some of your favorite local businesses and get ready for the new school year with all the essentials. We'll have school supply vendors and local eateries with delicious treats. Don't miss out on the fun. The Guardian Media Group and Rotary Club of South Ocean's Back to School Jamboree. Friday, August 29th at the Nassau Guardians parking lot, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. It's the perfect way to celebrate the end of summer and get excited for a great school year. See you here.
Brought to you by The Walking Clinic, Boss, Alive, FML, Asa H. Pritchard, Nassau Agencies, Original Parties, Caribbean Bottling Limited, Purity, Ari the Artist, Little Caesars, Marco's, Wendy's.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
We are back with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. We're streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. Also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at Morning Blend 969 or Facebook.com/Morning Blend 969. Text us 422-4796. Standard text rate supply. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan. Join me now, Laverne Gardner. Laverne, good morning.
Good morning, Dwight. Good morning to our listeners. How are you?
Doing well. Hope you're doing well as well.
All is well.
Excellent stuff. Excellent stuff. Great to be talking with you today. We have a lot to talk about coming up in business. We're going to the Department of Inland Revenue about short-term rentals. Notices went out to some folks that they might be conducting short-term rentals without notifying them. And we're going to find out what that's all about this morning. And before that, we're going to talk with the Catherine Florence Initiative. We talked to them a few months back, and they have an update on the work they're doing on their writings about marital rape and abortion in the country. And I'm going to have an interesting discussion with them as well. So that's all ahead, but there's a lot to talk about right now in the news. So in the news, we're going to get to this. Belinda Wilson, the president of the BUT, Bahamas Union of Teachers, says she's a bit concerned that there might be a teacher shortage, even though there are some new teachers, but she says she'll explain why she's concerned. We'll get to what she's saying in just a bit. There is another headline, though, in the other paper that I think, Laverne, you'll find quite interesting. The headline is, High Power Bills in Grand Bahama, Your Fault. And residents blast the...
I don't know why you want to start off.
Because, you are Grand Bahama.
Have we even had our first cup of coffee yet?
Well, this will wake you up, I'm sure.
This is how you are starting off the morning?
Good morning. Residents blast GBPC chief over comments on changing usage. Had you heard this before?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So residents are blasting Grand Bahama Power Company President Dave McGregor for telling consumers to change their usage behavior, saying that skyrocketing fuel charges, not wasteful habits, are driving bills to unsustainable levels, with some households now facing monthly charges as high as $1,000. Wow. Interesting. Before we go on, what your bill? I know you've told us before that, how they've been going up, but this last one, in line with what we'd been hearing from everybody else?
No, it is, Dwight. I said it to you last week, Thursday.
I just want you to say it to the audience.
I was at the point where I didn't even know if I could do the show. I was sorry.
Oh my gosh.
I was sorry I opened it up before we started the show. Mm-hmm. It is ridiculous. I don't know what the president is talking about. Sometimes we need to come out of our bubble, because the reality is that people aren't being wasteful. Mm-hmm. People are out here trying to be as conscientious and conserving their power, because the power has been going up and up and up and up.
Yeah.
The power bill is going up and up and up because the fuel surcharge is going up and up, which we don't have any control over. Mm-hmm. So literally, I can unplug everything, turn everything off. My power bill is still going to be high because I don't have control over the fuel surcharge. Fuel surcharge is almost 25 cents.
Yeah, that's crazy.
5 cents, Dwight.
Mm-hmm.
If you go, so to come out with these kind of comments is insensitive. It is just ridiculous. Personally, my bill was almost $400.
Mm-hmm.
And I always like to say the same thing. I got all the big boys, it's gas, right?
Yeah.
Gas water heater, gas stove, gas dryer. But my bill was almost $400. And it was because my fuel surcharge was more than my actual consumption.
That's insane.
So
Yep.
how do we regulate that? We are unable to regulate that because every time there is an issue with GB Power and they have to rent generate, it is being, let me preface this, it is being alleged, it is being said from the top to the, we have to pay. So if they have to get a generator because their equipment is broken, not working, and the generators that they're getting are fuel hogs. They burn more fuel, they burn different types of fuel. We are paying for that.
Mm.
And we don't have any control over that.
Wow.
We don't have any control over that. So to make that statement is just, you're not in touch with reality.
Yeah.
Because you can't say that to me because I am doing everything. I mean, listen, I got LED, the bulbs, everything that you could possibly do other than solar panels, we have done.
Yeah.
And still, I'm faced with a $400 bill. And as I said to you, you can't even say that it's because I turned on my AC. My bill was read August 1st, right for the, as hot as it has been, as hot as it has been. The first time I turned on my air conditioning was August 3rd.
So you went all those days without it on? That's what you're saying?
All those days, all those months.
Months?
That was the first time that I had turned on my air conditioner from last year.
No.
Yes.
I don't even understand what you're saying. Huh?
That's correct. So my bill has been steadily increasing over the past 3 months.
Okay, we'll get back to that one. I don't understand it. I can't even wrap my mind around it. But anyway, so this is not going to make you happy. So McGregor, who blamed the increases on the company's reliance on diesel fuel, urged customers to set their air conditioners a few degrees warmer, limit refrigerator use, and unplug appliances when not in use. I mean, that's great advice normally, but as you say, people are doing that, and yet their bills are going up. Many say those remarks show how touchy he is with the hardships families face. Grand Bahama Chamber of Commerce President Dylan Knowles said that while McGregor touched on fuel cost management, his focus on consumer usage downplays the real burden. He stressed that while consumers can control how much electricity they use, fuel costs driven by GBPC's generation choices play the bigger role.
Yes.
Yeah. Residents point to their own...
we have no control over that.
Right. Residents point to their own experiences to show usage is not the problem. A resident whose bill doubled this month said, quote, I did the same thing. I did not change anything. I did leave $300 arrears on it, but when I checked, it was like $1,200. I was like, what? When I look at the actual bill, my fuel alone was $400. Why do we have to pay so much for fuel? You work too hard not to turn your AC on. Well, responding to that, McGregor said, no, they need to maintain their equipment. That's what it is. Everybody wants to burn AC because it's hot. You can't tell us don't burn AC. If y'all take a plant, y'all wouldn't have a problem. Somebody else. Same person. Okay. Wouldn't have a problem. Maintain your generation plant. That resident suspects the recently opened Celebration Key development is pushing up demand, really, and straining GBPC's capacity. Also raised concerns about billing transparency, saying, quote, if you could turn off my power sitting at your desk, that means you could also adjust the numbers on my meter. I'm frustrated. This light bill is crazy. Wow.
I'm not. I am not querying usage. I'm querying the fuel surcharge, Dwight. My usage, $167. My usage, $167. My fuel surcharge, $187.
Wow.
Okay.
My goodness. Well, another resident sounds like you. By switching to gas appliances, installing efficient bulbs, and buying an energy-saving refrigerator, his bill has tripled.
Everything. Okay.
My bill is... he said that my bill is usually between $90 to $100 every month. Wow, that's impressive. I noticed an increase this month, and this month it went from $100 to $300, noting that 120 of that bill was fuel alone. My consumption, this is a quote, my consumption behavior has not changed. I'm burning the same kilowatts every month. I think GBP needs to adjust their usage, the type of fuel they burn, and repair their generators so they don't have to be burning this diesel fuel every month. This is why the power bill is so high. They're using diesel generators and we're spending a bunch of money on diesel fuel. They need to focus on making the necessary adjustment. Don't tell us to make adjustments. Bahamians have already been making the adjustments.
Crazy.
Yeah.
He is spot on. He is spot on with that. You know, like how many more? Okay. So for me, right? I know I have friends, family members who the whole gamut. When they leave, they turn the breaker off, they turn the water heater off, they do all of these things. Right? I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
I'm not like, seriously, I don't want anybody to tell me anything about unplugging this and that and turning off the breaker. I'm not doing it. Like, it's ridiculous. I have to do all of that. And then when you do all of that, the fuel surcharge is still 25 cents, almost 25 cents. Oh, man.
Wow. So the latest fuel charge on bills jumped from about 18, 19 cents per kilowatt hour in July to, as Laverne's been saying, to about 24 cents in August, nearly a 5-cent spike linked to diesel use. GBPC insisted it does not profit from fuel charges, calling them a direct pass-through cost tied to fuel, purchased power, and temporary generation. Yeah. Well, some residents recall that just last year, GBPC promised most customers would see lower bills through a new rate structure and fuel hedging locked in until 2027. What happened to that? And of course, political leaders, FNM and PLP, have been speaking out against this and about this. But wow. And of course, New Providence and many other parts of the country, residents can relate to this with BPL, although some adjustments have been made, but cost is still high. So,
but you recall, Dwight, that the Prime Minister, when he was talking about BPL, said that, you know, whatever measures they need to put in place so that customers find that they aren't paying unusually high fuel surcharge, right? So, you know, who's protecting us here?
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. How come we don't have that same privilege? Why don't we have that same privilege? Are we not Bahamian? Please, nobody call and tell me about the
I was going to say, you should.
Please, for the love of God, no one call and tell me about that. And I'm saying that because we're part of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. We are Bahamian. We pay taxes. We deserve that same kind of protection. End of story.
Okay.
Regardless of who, what, whatever, a part of Freeport, whatever, we deserve that same kind of protection. This is outrageous.
Okay. Let's get your reaction to it, folks. Again, people in New Providence shocked at their bills as well for this entire spring-summer period. Let's talk. 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4259. Or call us toll-free. Call us from Grand Bahama, 242-300-5720. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. This texter says here, Grand Bahama, am I the only one here in New Providence who's experienced the same thing? You're not listening to the show. This is your first time in a while. Welcome. I was off. My electricity bill was higher than last month's, and it's been that way for 2 months. For the last 2 months. This is insane. Yeah, a lot of people saying the same thing. Come on, Dwight. Everyone knows this is stealing on a high level. Oh, okay. Who's doing that? And what? If Laverne's water heater runs 24/7, her bill would be higher, though. Put a timer or switch on it.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Texter. I'm not doing that. My water heater stays the same. My bill has line from $125 to $400. Same usage.
Yeah. Yeah. This person says here,
So
this
why
is...
am I putting a timer
Yeah,
on?
I hear you. I hear you. This person says, this is crazy. I have an elderly mother at home, and to not leave fans or the AC on would be inhumane. Can't the fuel companies do what other companies around the world do to bring down the cost? The technology is here and not using it. This other person says, all those good lawyers in Grand Bahama and Grand Bahamians can't file a class action lawsuit? They are clearly joking and want to be treated like this. Well, I don't know.
Okay, thank you.
Well, so much I could say on that. But what are you all called? You're called, what, licensees, right? Almost everybody is, right? And so I guess it's...
Not almost everybody is.
Not almost everybody, sure?
People who have businesses
Well,
and are licensed with the port,
like
the Grand Bahama Port Authority, are called licensees.
like lawyers.
Not everybody in Grand Bahama
Like
is
lawyers.
licensee.
You're not going to... Right. Okay. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Morning, am I on?
Yes, you're on live.
Morning to both of you all. Yeah,
Good morning.
My bill went from 89 to 340.
Wow. You're in New Providence?
Yeah, right here, right there.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe this is just a political game they play. And then Rocket Man will come back sometime later on, and they'll find some way to bring the different bills them down just to get votes and say they do something. That's what I do.
Wow. So you're definitely not using anything more than you were before, or can you point to it? What do you think's going on?
No, well, my water heater, I don't have no water heater, and only me one here, and I don't know, I don't understand it because I don't hardly burn anything. Something wrong.
You said it went from 80 something to
340.
340. Wow. That's crazy. Sorry to hear that. Wish you all the best. I don't know what to tell you. That's
it's all a political game, man. They don't care what people. They don't care what people. My wife just died, and I going through a whole lot right now, and a lot of things going on, and then they come up with all these problems. They just trying to suck the poor man dry, man, and they're doing a good job, or they sure are sucking them.
Wow. Good luck to you. I'm sorry. Wow. Thank you so much for calling in. That's a lot.
Sorry about your wife's passing.
Wow. Okay. Let's take this call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Hi, good morning. Are you there?
Yes, good morning to you, Dwight. Good morning to Laverne.
Hi, good morning.
Dwight.
Good morning to you, Alan.
How you doing? I can explain it to you. But first of all, let me say the number one problem we've had in this country over the last few years is the economy has not kept rate with the rate of the cost of living has exceeded the growth of the personal economies. And so the country hasn't grown greater than the cost of living, greater than inflation either. So essentially, it's our lack, is our inability to grow the economy to keep pace, cost increases, as well as the growth of those that are entering the economy. That's the number one thing that we should be focused on. Now, the second thing, let's talk about Grand Bahama. I want us to consider how the vehicle is run. First of all, when you have a reduction of consumers in the first place, and that's what, in a conversation with the power company, laid out the groundwork, that regardless of how many people on, whether you have 25,000 or you have 19,000, you have to, those 19,000 will vary the cost. Now, let's take, for instance, if somebody else comes online and basically increase consumption, while in the meantime, three or so all of your major engines for power generation, that for which you have the type of fuel you use hedged to reduce the cost, is offline. Supposed to be for maintenance or whatever it is, it's been offline for almost 2 years for maintenance. These 2 weeks maintenance routine been offline. now what you've done is brought online some generators that use a significantly a higher price fuel. And so if everything remained constant, your price, when let's use an example, you use 10 gallons per hour. But these new generators that you have to depend on now uses 12 gallons per hour. So those extra 2 gallons now must be dispersed in expenses to the people. Then comes the thing. The radiant heat and whatever changes the dynamics on the island. It's a different type of heat, a little bit more consumption. Even your AC doesn't cool efficiently as it does because we have not have any strategy to keep the, what's the thing that goes outside to keep that cool and everything. We have no strategy. Let's put that on the record. We have no energy strategy for the Bahamas, in spite of what the government say. BPL may have one, but we have no national energy strategy. So now this radiant heat causes your AC to cycle a little bit more. And would then happen, lack of, insulation in the house, windows leaking, all of these different things that is happening. Remember the 30 million the government green? We're supposed to have the whole, global warming argument and carbon credits and everything. We can't find anything on that. Back to the story, though. So now you have increased the capacity. So what you're now doing is burning literally 20% to 25% more fuel, which is then passed on to the people. And because of the engine inefficiency, they have estimated from 2 months ago, we saw the trend, they have estimated based on previous year trends. I have all my bills for the last 10 years. Based on previous trends, they have estimated what this fuel charge would be for the burning, for what they call the burn through. And it's going to be higher next month also if you follow the actual trend. And so essentially, because we have no protection scheme, in Grand Bahama, we have a guaranteed 10% profit. So regardless of how inefficient they run, they don't pay for anything. For the fact that they've been charging us for these engines for 15, 20 years, and they have not kept them, they've had no penalty, they've had nothing attached to them for hard service for the last decade. And so you have all of these things pile up. And so I think the demand that has been made for clarity, not complaining, but for clarity on the bills should be answered. But it doesn't just respond to the bill. What we need is a structural audit of what has happened to Grand Bahama for the last 15 years. Because this is the second time we're paid also for the infrastructure. You notice this? You're in the business running, right? Your store burned down, and you make me pay for a bill for the store to rebuild your store. I don't know whether I own your store or not, but you're charging me for the use of the store. You charge me for what you pay for the lease of the store, whatever it is. It does that. It makes no sense. And this is what the opposition has called for. I think we should support them in demanding clarity, not just on billing, on the whole process.
Everything for all the companies across the country. Indeed. Power companies. Let's take this call, and I do want to move on. Caller, good morning. You are on the air.
Good morning, Cousin Dwight.
Hi. Well,
and good morning, Lover.
Well, look who it is. It's been quite a while.
Yeah, sorry. JNN was down for a couple of weeks. I just got out of hospital last Monday past.
So sorry to hear that.
Yeah, but JNN is an old fighter, And,
well, I hope you're doing better.
Yeah, I'm trying to get back up on the horse now. But Laverne, I sympathize with Freeport from way back in the day because I had a friend, Miss Sarah. She used to work up there for the Port Authority, and she always had cable and light bill problems. So I don't know how you all make it over there with that situation. And Dwight, what my question, thank you, C. Allen, thank you, good morning, C. Allen, because Grammy never taught me about no soy charge and no kilowatt hours. Grammy didn't know nothing about that. Grammy had light, land, and candle. You understand? So that's where I get catch off guard. But C. Allen kind of explained it all to me. My question to C. Allen and anybody out there who can answer it is, what is a fuel surcharge legal? Is that lawful? Because Dwight, that's like you go into Kentucky and the price of your two-piece chicken is $10. That should include everything, overhead, low head, whatever kind of head, whatever. And then when you get your chicken, they tell you it's $3 extra for the oil they fry the chicken in. Something wrong.
Don't give them any ideas.
Huh?
Don't give them any ideas. But yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, I need someone to answer that. Is the fuel surcharge, Allen, legal? Is that lawful? Thanks for taking Grammy Boy call.
Okay.
Bye, LeBert.
Well, they've been doing. It's a good question. They've been doing it for long enough. Yeah, absolutely.
Apparently, it is legal, right?
Yeah, well, I guess no one has challenged it in all these many years. But it is, as you say, it is the largest part of your bill, especially in the summers, which is outrageous. Outrageous. My God.
We should just move on.
Did you type this? So somebody say if we have any open slots, just give it to C. Allen on Guardian Radio. This person says, I live in Nassau. My heater is on a timer and is on for a total of 4 hours a day. My adult children, too, work full time. We are all gone by 7 a.m. each morning and get back between 5 and 6 p.m. on weekdays. We have individual ductless units in 3 rooms. The BPL bill has increased from $343 in May to $900 in June to $1,062 in July.
Okay.
Help with 4 exclamation marks. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. And I pay my bill in full each time.
Yes.
That's painful. Wow. This is a question. Could it be because of the higher bills we are paying? I'm only asking. Well, of course. But I mean, the money goes to a lot of things at BPL, definitely so. And then there's VAT once you go over $400, right? They get VAT on that. And a whole lot of people are now in the VAT territory. And
Sorry, excuse me, say that again?
If your bill goes over $400, you're paying VAT. There's no bill under 4, but over 4, it's VATted. And so now they're getting VAT revenue.
So if your bill, so are you saying if your bill is $250, you don't pay VAT?
No. Do you see that on your? Well, you don't. You haven't had a bill like that in a while, so you can. But then no, it's.
I haven't had a bill like what?
You haven't had a bill that low in a while to be able to tell whether there's VAT on your bill. But no, it's $400 now. The threshold.
I pay VAT. Right.
What? Or maybe because it's GB. Maybe it's GBPC. Maybe that's only a BPL thing. That's boy, that's interesting. Maybe because it's GBPC. So BPL we're on bills under 4. It was 3 and they raised it to 4. But gee, so Grand Bahama.
I'm not talking anymore.
Sucks to be you.
I'm done.
Wow. This person says here, has your bill increased? I know you used to talk about it. Yeah, it has, of course. It hasn't well, as I've been saying over the past few days how I've been living like a cave dweller and turning on the AC at strategic times so I can manage, right? So I'm sweating it out until 8 or trying my best, opening all the windows and then, right. So it definitely has gone up. But this month was down from last month because of the restrictions I've put on myself. But yeah, it's high. It's high. It's definitely high. Ty. The phone lines are lit up. You all want to continue to talk about this. Okay, let's take this call. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning on this thankful term. But what has been happening, thankful for the educated public calling in and sharing all the concerns.
Mm-hmm.
These concerns actually goes to a management issue. And when poor management is done in these businesses, they pass on the reckless overheads or underheads or whatever the gentleman want to call it to us, the consuming public. I do sympathize with Laverne because I know what she's doing and she's doing right. And even as a case where the AC didn't turn on until August, the 3rd of August, yet the bill went up. So imagine what it would be like in the next bill. So it's definitely a management problem, and it's also, I would want to even call it, it's not illegal, outright robbery. If you take the rules, you decide how much you take from each person's pocket. And I like the example about the fast food services giving you new prices because of surcharge and undercharge and mischarge and all kind of charge, whatever. I don't know what I want to call it. But yet again, it's a thankful Thursday. And so therefore, I'm hoping that better will come. Better will come in us. I don't know if we have a boycott and stop it and say, okay, we're not going to use any more power, but people turn out their breakers. People get tankless. People try everything, and the pattern has been the same over the years.
I hear you, and that's excessive, right? That's extreme to have to do that, and that's not.
That's
I
what
can't
I'm
even imagine
saying,
that being
like-
safe. Yeah, that is just insane.
So I'm going back to this. I'm revisiting this. You said if your bill is under $400,
Well, I guess that's BPL.
okay.
Yeah.
It looks like ours is 300 because my bill wasn't quite 400 and I'm paying back.
Mhm. Again, I don't know if it's across the country. It might have only been
Of course
BPL.
it isn't.
Right. So
It's across the country minus Grand Bahama.
let's take another call. Good morning.
However that works.
Well, there's a lot of that. Remember, as that previous caller said, you all used to have cable, and we certainly did not.
Okay.
Well, I
And so
don't
what
know.
does that mean?
I don't know. Just different things. The place. it's
That means that we don't deserve protection.
not at all. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying things have
Yeah,
been.
I think we
things have-
kinda are.
Things have been different. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Are you there? Hi. Good morning.
Yeah, Dwight, give me less than 60 seconds. The fuel surcharge comes under the regulations. There's no exact order that addresses the fuel surcharge. It comes regulations, number 26 and 20, I can't remember exactly, 26 or 27 or 77 of the regulations. But what happens, though, is that you should ask IRCA that comes on because it's very, very convoluted concerning the Electricity Act, Section 77, and the others that it is done because essentially, from my reading of it, I thought that it was only supposed to increase based on a 15-cent adjustment based on 1 cent of the diesel fuel charge. So it's like a lot of the thing, but ultimately the authority lies in the regulations that come from the Electricity Act and the minister that has that authority. So we should try to get the minister or at least to get IRCA since they're the one that actually do it to give some clarity.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Wow. All right. A couple messages here as we move on. This person says that be reminded that BPL rates are the same for the Family Islands. However, their bills are less. Nassau customers are subsidizing the cost of BPL for the Family Islands. Dwight, BPL is playing games under government man crap. Wow, they did with eggs, inflation. Eggs, how are we getting this in this? What? Then the PLP swooped in and as the hero to lower it. I despise gaslighting manipulation. Meanwhile, foreigners are still living bill-free in their shanty towns. What? And yes, there are still thousands standing. And rich elite foreign light bills will stay at $37 per month with central AC running all day. I've witnessed this. Huh? Okay. Oh, boy. I don't even know what to say after that. Yeah, you want to go to that? Let's take this final call. Hi, caller, you're on the air.
Yes. Do not let people charge their electric vehicles on your external electrical plugs. That's the simplicity of complexity.
What?
God bless you.
What does that mean? What?
Means you must stop charging your vehicle, Dwight.
On
That
the
was
what?
That was the directive to you.
But I don't understand. On what? That the one that'll be your own bill. What's the issue? What? Huh? Okay. Anyway,
With Dwight, wherever you are going outside of your home to charge your car,
okay.
you need to
That
stop
doesn't make
that.
sense.
You are part of the problem.
I don't understand. Aren't Bahamians tired of gaslighting and manipulation? My uncle, who was marked as subversive, and murdered by okay, what's going on? Let's just put
went
this
down
text
the hole?
line. Let's put this text line over here. And people are hot. As you can see, the power issues
Literally.
causing them to lose it.
And figuratively.
Something has to give. Something has to give, or we will see.
It's us. We keep giving. We're giving.
I'm speechless. I'm hoping everybody there will be some relief soon. We know September is as often as hot as August and unbearable as August. And it's creeping into October these days as well. So we've got many more months of this ahead. So, boy, oh boy. Anyway, let's go to a break. And that'll take us right into the news as well. And then we'll talk with our guests. We've got a lot to get to on this Thursday morning. You don't want to miss it. This is Morning Blend, brought to you in part by CFAL. Register now for the CFAL Pension and Economic Conference, October 16th at Bahamar Convention Center. Under the theme, Resilience in the Face of Global Uncertainty, this half-day event offers expert in today's shifting economy. Visit cfal.com.
And I always late. If you want me there by 9, better tell me come 8. See, I's a Bahamian, and I don't like say nobody gonna spend my money when I go to my grave. Yes, I's a Bahamian, don't wanna make no fuss. But if you we know, but outside tell you will one of us.
Shop early to get your uniforms and catch Janae's Uniform Center's buy 4, get 1 free sale. Pre-monogrammed and regular school shirts, dry fit and cotton polos, jumpers, skirts, boys' long and short pants, PE shorts, underclothes, tights, socks, neckties, belts, sleeping mats, hair accessories, and character work desk. Get 50% off backpacks, lunch bags, and raincoats. Buy 4 school shirts, get 1 free. Buy 2 skirts, jumpers, or pants, get the third 50% off. Need embroidery and monogramming done? Visit Janae's Uniform Center early. Beat the back-to-school rush. Janae's Chesapeake Road back-to-school special. Restrictions apply.
Tell them Southwest Plaza has so many stores. I've been trying to find a sensible way to list them all. There's CBS Bahamas, the Ashai Institute, BENC Snack World, Bamboo Shack Bahamas, there, ETC, Games and More, John Bull Fine Threads, Alive Bahari, Dairy Queen, 700 Wines and Spirits, Sandy's, Clarkson Island Lock, Starbucks and Lowe's Pharmacy, plus Marco's Pizza and Lorraine. Southwest Plaza, what a wide array of stores. Southwest Plaza, stop by today and explore. Maybe it's time to explore your options. There's no harm in reviewing your mortgage arrangement and considering a better deal. CIBC Caribbean can help you narrow your search and decide. Switch your mortgage to CIBC Caribbean and enjoy a special interest rate and help towards your switching cost. Visit CIBCFCIB.com/inspired home for more information. Conditions apply.
This October, Bahama invites you to indulge your senses at the Culinary and Arts Festival, where world-class flavors meet breathtaking creativity in the heart of the Bahamas. Join us October 22nd through 26th for an unforgettable celebration featuring culinary legends Marcus Samuelson, Dario Zucchini, Simeon Hall Jr., and Scott Conant, alongside a vibrant lineup of chefs and mixology installations, interactive workshops, and live performances, all set against the stunning backdrop of Nassau's premier luxury resort. From curated tasting events to beachfront feasts and immersive gallery experiences, this is more than a festival. It's a feast for the soul. Tickets and packages are going fast. Visit Bahamar.com to reserve your spot at the Culinary and Arts Festival at Bahamar, where taste and talent take center stage. This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. Also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at Morning Blend 969 or Facebook.com/Morning Blend 969. Text us 422-4796 on the Guardian Radio. And now at 8:23, it's time for another check of your weather for today, brought to you by Sherwin-Williams. Here's what's going on. We've got lingering moisture from Hurricane Erin out in the Atlantic. That is continuing to support shower and thunderstorm activity across the Bahamas, while ridging is building across the area and bringing warmer temperatures and more stable conditions by the end of the week. So lingering residual moisture will support a few showers and thunderstorms across the northern and northwest islands through Saturday. Then very warm conditions will occur through, this whole week into the weekend. Drier conditions coming by Sunday. There is still an extremely high risk of rip currents, life-threatening rip currents, dangerous high seas, and very rough surf affecting all Atlantic coastlines. And residents and beachgoers across all islands, especially Atlantic exposed coastlines, should stay out of the water. Do not go swimming at the beaches. We're expecting overtopping waves. Motorists even and pedestrians along coastal roadways need to exercise caution, especially in areas like the Glass Window Bridge in Eleuthera, due to very large, dangerous sea swells and waves that can break as high as 12 to 14 feet. And again, another hot day in store. UV indices will be in the extreme range and the heat indices in the triple digits. The northern and northwest Bahamas, partly sunny, becoming partly cloudy by this afternoon into tonight. A 20-30% chance of showers and isolated thunderstorms. For the central and southeastern islands, partly to variably cloudy today and fair tonight for the central islands, mostly cloudy by late afternoon for the southeastern islands. A 20% chance of showers and isolated thunderstorms. High temperatures around 93 Fahrenheit, 34 Celsius, but the heat index will make you feel like it's 108 Fahrenheit, 42 Celsius. Overnight lows now getting down to a very warm 82 Fahrenheit, 28 Celsius. In your extended outlook for tomorrow, Friday, partly sunny for the northwest Bahamas, variably cloudy elsewhere. Saturday, mostly sunny, partly cloudy over all areas by night, and variably cloudy by Sunday into Monday. In the tropics, we're watching a couple areas outside of Erin. Near the Leeward Islands now, we've got showers and thunderstorm activity associated with this area, this tropical wave, becoming a bit more concentrated. This is about a few hundred miles east of the Leeward Islands. Formation chance through 7 days is high at about 70%. And then in the eastern tropical Atlantic, showers and thunderstorms associated with another wave several hundred miles southwest of the Cabo Verde Islands. That's starting to show some sun. Chance through 7 days is medium right now at about 40%. That's your Morning Blend weather check, brought to you by Sherwin-Williams. Ready to refresh your space? We'll head to your local Sherwin-Williams for premium paint, pro tips, and everyday deals that make it easy to get started. Got your look at traffic, brought to you by RBC. With RBC, your ideas happen here. In real-time traffic this morning, we're seeing heavy traffic on Milo Butler Highway, just north of the Fire Trail roundabout. As you approach Harold Pond, you'll see that in the northbound lanes, straight up to Tonic Williams Darling Highway. Elsewhere on Blue Hill Road, also some heavy traffic for you near Carmichael if you're heading northbound, and north of Soldier Road on the way to Independence Drive. Got a bit of congestion for you just west of Mackey Street on Wolf Road if you're heading westbound. And bound near the Bernard Wolf and Village Road intersection. Some slow-moving traffic there. Bit of congestion at Village Road near Shirley Street and Eastern Road, that area, seeing some slow-moving traffic both directions. Southbound and northbound as you approach that intersection with Shirley and Village. So that's your real-time traffic and your morning blend traffic alert. Also brought to you by NUA Insurance Agents and Brokers. Get a quote however it suits you. Stop by your nearest branch or get an instant motor quote online at nuainsurance.com. Quick questions or big decisions, they've got you covered.
You covered. Grab a day single or chicken sandwich with a junior fries and 16-ounce beverage for just $6.95. Why choose less from the other guys when you can get more? At Wendy's, we're providing bigger bites and better deals. Today, now available at all locations excluding the airport and food truck.
No one likes a fender bender.
Oh, man.
From a little scratch to a full mashup, NUA Insurance has got you covered with auto insurance tailored to fit your needs and budget. For affordable rates with free on-site accident assistance, visit us online or in branch and just ask us. NUA Insurance. Ask us because we've got you covered.
Sherwin-Williams Bahamas doesn't mess about when it comes to product range and product knowledge.
If it's a new product come in the store, we walk the store and study that product.
One thing with our boss, if a new product comes in, he takes the time and he's always keeping us up to date with product knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
And we just had 9 weeks of different products that we had to study, and we had exams at the end of each product.
Yeah.
The only way we can sell the product effective, we have to know that product. Yeah, that helps us to relate to our customers. It gives us better knowledge to know what product to introduce to them. You understand? So we can know what product to give them to use and what product not to give them to use.
Mm-hmm.
So product knowledge is really key in Sherwin-Williams.
They got the keys, and the key is the product knowledge that comes with our extensive product range at Sherwin-Williams Paints, Bahamas. Find color in every day.
In the world of business, technology is not a choice. It's a necessity. And for businesses that demand excellence, there's only one choice for unparalleled support and cutting-edge technology. Custom Computers. You have challenges and we have solutions. Computing, networking, storage, and printing for enterprises large and small, aligned with premium brands like HP, Microsoft, Konica Minolta, and more. Get tech done the right way with Custom Computers. Call the know-how team at 396-1101.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
You say I'll never change. I'm just with some gasoline, just trying to bomb a flame. Gonna burn the whole place down. How do you explain ever falling in love with a guy like me in the first place? And turn around and say that I'm the worst thing. I guess I'm the problem. And your mess never do no wrong if I'm so awful. And why'd you stick around this
We are
long
back
enough?
with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Laverne Gardner. And changing gears now, this morning we are catching up with the Catherine Florence Initiative. We met Crystal King and Ashley Hanna a few months back. They're back with an update on the work they've been doing. Ladies, great to see you again.
Good to
morning.
see you as well. Good morning.
Great to be on the show. Thank you.
All right, remind folks what the Catherine Florence Initiative is all about.
Yes, so we are a nonprofit human rights advocacy organization. We also advocate for the promotion of education in the Bahamas. The way that we advocate for human rights is actually through education as well. And when you met us last year, we were raising money with the intention of giving the funds to the Bahamas Crisis Center. Very proud to announce that we did that. We were able to raise $6,500 roughly for the Crisis Center.
Excellent. All right, so you got a few things that you focus on mainly when you do your human rights work, but let's talk about those, the pillars, I guess, of the initiative.
Well, our first pillar, our first campaign was the Lead Her campaign, and we focused on women's rights issues in the Bahamas between February 2024 straight up through to the summer of 2025. Our primary issue at the time was gender roles, and we focused on consent. Then we pivoted towards marital rape, and consent was a precursor to marital rape. And then we did two parts to marital rape. We focused on a biblical perspective and a legal perspective. And then we shifted to abortion.
You all are tackling the big dog stories, topics head on. Eh?
We're doing our best. We're doing our best. I have to say thank you to the Nassau Guardian, though, because we've been publishing the articles in the Nassau Guardian's paper.
Yes.
I appreciate them for allowing us that opportunity.
Wonderful. Yeah, and we've had a really great ongoing relationship with the Guardian. A special thank you to Candia Dames, who has been editing and receiving our work and giving us lots of words of encouragement.
Good stuff. All right, so we're going to talk about some of the what's come out of the work that you're doing on marital rape and abortion. These are, again, not easy topics, but let's talk about it. What are your findings? What's the temperature like?
Well, okay, actually, if it's okay with you, Dwight, before we do that, I actually want to say, last year when we held our first talent show fundraiser where we raised funds for the Bahamas Crisis Center, something completely unexpected came out of that. We realized that we had a huge youth engagement. Neither of us had anticipated that. I mean, we had 40 young people from the Ranfley Home and Elizabeth Estates orphanages come out to the fundraiser. We had 62, if I'm remembering the number correctly, young people come in and send us encouraging messages. We had a young man tell us, well, at first he was mad at us because he said to us, at first I thought these articles had absolutely nothing to do with me. And then he said, and then I heard y'all on the radio, and then I went back and I reread the articles, and I'm very mad at y'all because now I'm around the place being a women's rights activist, and people keep taking it the wrong way.
Wow.
So that was incredible, and I did not see it coming at all.
All right, so along those lines, it seems like those are country at the moment, women's rights advocate.
Yeah.
What has that experience been like for you all?
Well, when we came here last, as you might remember, it was not a fun time. It was not a fun time. We had gotten heavy critique from a lot of people in the church who, at the time, we both respected a lot. I think that time has healed those wounds a bit. I think now people understand exactly what it is that we are speaking about and trying to get other people to speak about.
Why? What were they saying? Why? What type of critiques? Remind folks.
Yeah. So in.
Well, in our last, the last time that we came on Morning Blend last year, we were receiving comments about the fact that our education and being abroad has made us more liberal and
the correct word is
more
radical,
free-spirited and radical.
They said radical,
and they tied our education and time away from home as to us being radical feminists.
Yeah.
Which we have to disagree with.
Strongly, by the way.
Yes, because and becoming, well versed in certain topics, it certainly helped us to articulate
ourselves,
ourselves
but it
better.
didn't give us the idea. Growing up in this country gave us the idea. And that was one of the milder things that they had said. I don't want to give them too much attention, but one of the other things that was said about us at the time was, oh, well, they're advocating for these things because, they must be fast and they're doing certain things. And I thought to myself, right. So you have to be, quote unquote, fast in order to believe that women shouldn't be raped in this country. You have to be fast in order to state that historically the gender roles that we've placed upon both men and women are harmful and that they didn't exist in the time that you keep perpetrating on the pulpit that they exist in. And may I also mention that at the time when we wrote these articles, we didn't have any particular person or group in mind. Lots of particular people and groups felt targeted, but
yes,
it has since calmed down a lot. I think now people realize that what we're advocating for more than anything else is a conversation. We want people to discuss these things from a place of I understand these things and from a place of empathy, not from a place of I'm right and you're wrong, because we can never progress as a country if all day long we're only throwing chairs at each other. It doesn't work.
Right. Wow. So you were getting backlash from men?
It's men and women. I think there was an equal split at the time.
And it was really interesting to see the amount of older women with patriarchal views as well. That was something that we had to that we had to contend with.
That we still contend with.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was interesting to see. So,
and the juxtaposition of that is that when we started speaking to young people more and more and getting them more involved, without me and Ashley ever mentioning to them what we thought about things or how we think they should think about things, they came in and they were very open about what they think is right and what's wrong and what they agree with and what they don't agree with. And so many of them were unintentionally teaching Ashley and I, because when we started this entire thing, we didn't know who would be for us, who would be against us. We just said, let's just write and let's just see where it goes. And to see the amount of young people that agree with us, the amount of young people that think we should have taken those articles further than we actually did, it's insane. And even a lot of, I have to give credit as well, because there are some elderly people that completely agree with us. And they've been very open and honest about the fact that, in their day, they couldn't have this conversation. They couldn't get out on the radio and say these things in the way that we did last year because no one would have listened to anything else that came out of their mouth. And so it's been, my eyes have been open since the last time I've been.
Good morning.
Laverne,
I just wanted to, Good morning, ladies, and I applaud you for the work that you are doing and continue to do.
Thank you.
So on that note, I wanted to ask, how has it been now? So initially there was a lot of backlash from a certain groupings. You'll say groupings, right? How is that? Are you finding some common ground with these groupings? Is the interaction more positive? Has there been a meeting of the minds? Or basically you're just looking and say, we're just going to rock with who's rocking with us. I'm not in a bad way, but you have to progress, right? So you can't, if people don't want to be open, then there's nothing that you can do. But I'm just curious, from those groupings now that initially you had backlash, has there been any moving of the needle in a positive way?
Well, generally, as it stands right now, we do have a generally positive reception. People have been very positive in terms of giving us support and encouragement to continue writing. We do have the occasional person who will disagree with our views, but even now, people will disagree respectfully.
Yeah.
So we have had a lot of support from people, and in terms of meeting of the minds, one of the year was a women's rights panel where we had both religious leaders and
prominent legal minds.
Yes, prominent legal minds who came together to speak on issues of gender roles from a religious perspective and marital rape. And I do just have to say that I'm so grateful to Alexander Malis, who was able to come Deacon Alexander Malis. He came and spoke, and he gave a dual perspective because he's a representative of the Catholic Church, and he is also an attorney, and he spoke extensively on marital rape and how these issues, like people tend to use religion to disguise their own bigotry when it comes to issues like marital rape, and to hear a male's perspective, be so in line with what with our personal views was really encouraging, and we were very happy about that.
All right, let's catch people up on what some of the controversy has been about and what your views are and why this might have been controversial in the first place. So let's get people caught up on that.
Okay. So it all began when we titled the first article, "The Re-Education of Women's Rights in the Bahamas." Breaking Chains, the Re-Education of Women's Rights in the Bahamas. I think some people interpret the title in itself as offensive because they first thought, well, we don't need a re-education on women's rights. We know what women's rights is in this country, and how dare these young girls who just graduated yesterday write these articles. All we argued for in the first article was that in this country, we have the benefit and the misfortune of being very close to America in a lot of ways. And so in America, we've seen the feminist movement take an extreme left turn on a lot of their viewpoints. It's moved away from what it originally was, which was we want women to be protected within society and to have certain rights that would afford them certain luxuries that maybe they didn't have in the past. And it's now become a I hate men trend, and me and Ashley made it very clear in the re-education of women's rights in the Bahamas that we want to move away from that. We want to put the conversation back on target to what it was meant to be in the first place. These are the issues that face women, and we shouldn't be discussing it in terms of I hate you, you hate me, so I'm not paying attention to anything that you say. But instead, here are the facts. We were trying to be as objective as possible in the beginning, and then we said, these are the facts, and now this is how it affects people. This is the problem here. And we aren't given a re-education because we think the education before was inadequate, but because the conversation has become so marred. And from there, we went on to gender roles, where we addressed the traditional gender roles, the traditional roles that society has imposed upon both men and women. And we tried to present a balanced argument in that article in regards to how these quote-unquote rules, traditional rules, have harmfully impacted men and women in this country.
And we wanted to highlight the fact that a lot of these roles that have been created were specifically cultural and not necessarily rooted in religion. And we decided to tackle certain biblical scriptures that spoke to women's roles. And so we talked about Proverbs 31. We talked about Paul's letters to the church of Ephesus and Ephesians.
We also spoke extensively on Deborah in the Bible.
Yes, and for those who might not be as familiar, because she's not one of the major biblical characters that people speak about. She was a judge for Israel, and she has in the book of Judges. And she was in a leadership position that was usually offered to men, and God used her in a very intentional way for the people of Israel. And we wanted to just highlight the fact that God did not expect women to be completely subservient. The idea of women being helpmates has been turned into them simply,
I am above you, so you should listen to me because you are my subordinate. That's not in the Bible at all. And so we tackled that. And then from there, we moved on to consent and rape. Because the consent and rape one was actually based on work that I had done in the UK that I felt like it applied to the Bahamian context. In regards to the fact that people seem to believe there are these gray areas when it comes to consent. And if a person reacts a certain way to a situation of sexual assault, it means that you can deduce whether or not they're telling the truth about the entire incident occurring, which is completely ridiculous because the psychology contradicts that. The psychology says that people have different responses to harmful situations, and you cannot base their reaction to that situation. You can't use that reaction as a thing to say it did or didn't occur. We also use that as an opportunity to address. I've heard a lot in my life, and so has Ashley, that if you come forward as a victim of sexual assault in any way, you are harming the male and his reputation is going to be ruined. And so we also wanted to address the statistics on that, the statistics on how many women have come forward, and men actually, because we didn't separate it out. How many people have come forward with stories of sexual assault, and then they recanted the story for whatever reason. It does not always mean that they're lying. It could just mean that they didn't want to go through that entire legal process, because that is a very rough process to go through. It could just mean that there wasn't sufficient evidence to move the case forward. It doesn't mean that they're lying.
Or fear, just...
And for the record, it's only 3%, and of that 3%, it's muddled, because the Bahamas, the UK, and the US, none of these three countries have data that, at least that I've seen, where they separate out, recanted the stories, insufficient evidence, or whatever other reason there may have been. So we still can't pinpoint exactly what the percentage is of people that quote unquote lie about sexual assault encounters.
And despite the idea that some people might actually be being untruthful about their statements, it stands to reason that, you know, in all of these societies, all of these are only the percentage of people who actually come forward to say anything at all is so small in comparison to the actual events that occur. At least, I mean, in the United States of America, as far as I know,
the Bahamas as well.
Yes, and I mean, even in terms of the United States, when I had actually read a statistic that said that 33% of women of color experience sexual assault before they turn 18.
Wow.
And, that is a third of all women of color in the United States of America. That is, it's a really harmful statistic, and so many women do not come forward out of fear, shame, embarrassment, not having the resources to do so, not wanting to go through a public trial, And we wanted to dismantle some of the negative stigmas around consent and rape, and all of the baggage that comes with it.
Right.
Yeah, and can I also add to that, the statistic on people that are raped specifically is 60% for people that are women, people in general that are raped by someone that they know. Okay, so it's only 31% that are raped by strangers. That's scary.
Yeah. And so you mentioned it, consent, and so that's marital rape as well, and abortion as well. You wrote about abortions, right?
Yes. That was our very last article. Hope the people don't hate me too much, but that was my favorite article.
Yeah, Crystal definitely. I know Crystal took primary on writing abortion because of her background.
Selling me out,
studies.
Ashley.
No, I'm actually complimenting you.
Thank you.
I'm actually, you know what I mean? I wanted to, I just want to highlight, I think Crystal's, knowledge of the legal system and her way of, understanding and dissecting the law really made the article, really special and important to us. And we also wanted to make sure we stated as clearly as we possibly could when writing abortion that our views on abortion are, very nuanced. You can't putting everything into a binary when it comes to abortion is really harmful to all of the different kinds of situations that might warrant one.
Yeah.
And Crystal can speak more to that.
Yeah, well, to summarize, I think the tone of the article is far more important than what I said in the article to some degree, because the underlying tone of the article was, this is not something we should be screaming and yelling at each other about. This is something that we should sit down and have empathetic conversations about. You should understand my point of view, I should understand your point of view, and if we can't understand each other's point of view, then we need to go back to the drawing board, because this is not a I'm right, you're wrong scenario. It's so nuanced. And a part of the reason that Ashley and I left abortion for last was because we wanted to build up to it. We felt like there were issues that needed to be understood before we got to that very, very big controversial one. So after consent and rape, we then tackled marital rape issues, which was very difficult to write. Not because of a lack of understanding of the entire thing, but because you have to be so careful when you're discussing what occurs in the marital home.
Mm-hmm.
And so we tried to approach it from a legal and a psychological standpoint. We wanted to explain that you can't destabilize the woman of the house, especially if you have children involved, because Judge Lintola said once, she's the mother, you destabilize the child. That is the reality of it. You cannot expect someone that is not okay mentally to raise a child that is okay mentally. It just does not work that way.
Mm-hmm.
And so marital rape had much, much larger implications than whether or not we should just... we took the issue as a larger issue than just whether or not it should be legal or illegal. This is what happens when this occurs. Mm-hmm. And it's dangerous and it's scary. And Ashley spoke extensively in the marital rape articles about the church and the stance the church has traditionally taken on it and what the Bible itself says.
And that's why we had to break marital rape up into two separate parts. It had to be, we had to take a religious, we had to talk about the religious perspective, and we had to speak about the legal perspective. Right. Mm-hmm. And it was too much to write for just one piece. And I talked about, when Crystal and I wrote together, we wrote about, I think it was 1 Corinthians chapter 7, and we examined that particular chapter line by line, specifically I think verses 1 through 10, to speak about what Paul says in terms of one husband having one wife having one husband, mutual respect, mutual submission, and the fact that you are not supposed to defraud your spouse. And by defraud, he means sex with malicious intent. Mm-hmm. But he does say that there are times where you have to separate and for fasting and prayer for a time, and then come together in union once again. And there are a lot of religious leaders who would take the defraud statement to say that you are not supposed to withhold sex from your partner. So it is your marital duty to do so. In the relationship, but the statement has to be read in its context, which is what we were trying to establish in the article.
Yeah, and if I may, Dwight, I want to read an extract from the marital rape article. One of the marital rape articles that we wrote. It was "Breaking Chains: The Silence of the Vows," and in it we said, women and men are equally the backbone of our society. One does not stand on top of the other, as without each, our nation cannot progress. Our children cannot progress. Yet we allow antiquated laws to remain, laws that harm our women and ultimately harm our children, bringing us down as a society. Justice Andrew Forbes emphasized, at the time it was a recent emphasis, not anymore, that the failure of young men particularly stems from their inability to regulate emotions, which causes societal grief. And then we went on in the article to argue that we allow this lack of emotional regulation to persist when we refuse to call a wrong. When that a man forcibly taken from his wife sexually is wrong. It causes real harm. Mm-hmm. And it makes me question sometimes, what exactly are we categorizing as right and wrong in this country? Is it pick and choose for when we feel like, oh yes, perhaps abortion is wrong, right, but that's his wife, so he had every right to rape her, even though she claims that it caused her emotional and physical damage, because might I add, the physical trauma that comes from being sexually assaulted is, we need a whole other segment to discuss.
Wow. All right, so I want to ask you, we got some interesting text messages coming in already. Do you feel that you've achieved what you wanted to accomplish?
Yes and no.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We originally set out only to do the Lead Her campaign for 1 year. It's now spilled over into this year because the momentum for it kept growing and growing and growing amongst people we agreed and disagreed with. I think that it's going to be an ongoing discussion. I will say that I'm very happy, both positive and negative. I'm happy that there is a discussion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I would also say too that the work is never finished. So we are very happy with what we've been able to accomplish so far, but we also know that there's lots more to do.
Yeah. People making note of it. There'll be, as you said, the high rape incidences in the country. You're here in the morning when
we were discussing
14 years old. And the young boys that did it aren't much older than one was 20, one was 18, and the next one was 15.
One was 23.
23, 18, and 15.
Yeah,
accused.
A 23-year-old, an 18-year-old, and a 15-year-old raping a 14-year-old. I mean,
allegedly.
Allegedly. Allegedly.
Still,
Listen, to be 15 years old and to rape someone, I don't like if they did what they said they did, what they are being accused of. I don't like it because you are 15 years old. That's a heavy thing to have done and have on your conscience. But also, if we never say what is right and what is wrong, then how do we help the victim in any way?
And I mean, the other side of it for me is that, to be an 18 and a 23-year-old and looking at a 14-year-old in such a lustful and aggressive, desirous way is really a sickening.
It's ludicrous. I mean, when are we going to call it what it is? Ludicrous.
All right, let's go to the phone lines again. We're talking with Crystal King and Ashley Hanna with the Catherine Florence Initiative. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Hi, yes, good morning. How you doing?
Doing well.
Right?
Hi.
Great, and good morning to your guests.
Good morning.
I to be a guest, Dwight. Two very intelligent young ladies. I just want to find out how extensive is your Bible knowledge or Bible studies? Because apparently you're saying, when you look at what and the Bible says, it says don't defraud each other. So I think that's what the King James Version renders. Do not defraud each other except it be by mutual consent, so that you may give yourself the fasting and prayer, and then come together again, lest Satan tempt you because you lack of self-control. One of the guests, I don't know who it is, but one of the guests says that do not defraud each other means that you don't have a marital duty to fulfill sex in the marriage. Is that what you're saying? Because that isn't what the pastor is actually teaching. When you look carefully at 1 Corinthians chapter 7, especially verses 1 to 7, it tells the married couple that sex is a marital obligation and duty. Other than that, if you go outside the marriage to satisfy a sexual appetite, it becomes adultery.
Of course.
What are you saying?
Well, I can answer your question.
Okay.
The important thing to note inside of that scripture, 1 Corinthians chapter 7 verses 1 through 7 in particular, is that you are meant, there is a duty to uphold in the marriage in terms of intercourse. That is a part of marriage consummation.
So is sex a part of the covenant in marriage? Is sex a part of it?
Yes, you have to consummate a marriage, of course, but
to be clear,
don't dance around my question. This is very important.
We are dancing around the question. We agree with what you've said. We're saying
is sex a part of the covenant in marriage? Yes or no?
Yes, but with mutual respect and submission from both parties.
You cannot dismiss the second part of the scripture.
Okay, so you're saying that before a person gets married, that the other person doesn't really have to have sex if they don't want to.
So that's a completely different question from the first one.
Before you get married, the person doesn't really have to have sex. I don't understand how
Are you asking about marital rape in terms of when they're married, or are you asking about if we think sex is wrong outside of marriage?
No, I'm not asking about marital rape. But one of you seems to suggest that sexual intercourse is not a part of the marital covenant.
That's not what we suggest, sir, at all.
I think you're the only person who heard that. I don't know where you got that from.
I think perhaps, excuse me, caller, I think perhaps whatever your own beliefs are maybe influenced what you understood, but neither guest ever said that. They never said that it's not
I
part
have no
of the
belief
covenant.
other than what
They did not. They did not say that.
But I have no belief other than what the scriptures teach. I believe the scriptures is very clear based on marriage and sex. As a matter of fact, if you're not married, you should not be having sex. Because outside of marriage, and if you have sex outside of marriage, it's called fornication. So I am convinced that sex is a part of the covenant in marriage, and that married person has a marital duty to
Okay.
fulfill each other's
And
sexual appetite.
if one night the wife has 150, hold on, Laverne. If your wife has a 150-degree temperature, but you want it, what's supposed to happen then?
The scripture teaches that husband.
Oh wow, you are ridiculous. Okay, let's. God Almighty.
Wow.
Wow. Well, I mean, there's nothing more you can say to that.
We live in a society.
You are ridiculous.
You never. It's crazy because you never even said that.
But
that marriage, that there is sex in marriage. You actually said that, and you also talked about there's a time when you were just talking about the scripture in context of when it says don't defraud each other, and then there is a time of separation and coming together. You never once said that sex is not a part of marriage.
Can I be honest? I think
other callers or texters who heard that or interpreted that, that is not what they said.
Can I be honest though? I think that this goes back to the heart of why we wrote the articles. People want to fight so badly, even if it means completely disregarding what was actually said.
But also, it's a matter of manipulating scripture to fit your own personal agenda. You have to be able to read scripture in context. You have to be able to acknowledge the fact that it says, do not defraud each other. But there's also so much talk in that particular chapter about mutual consent, mutual submission, mutual respect.
But I mean, can we go back to one of the most basic biblical things that they teach you when you're in primary school? Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. I mean, can we go back to the basics of things? I think we get so caught up in the minutia sometimes unnecessarily.
All right, we don't have much time left, but we've got a lot of calls coming. Let's see if we can squeeze a few of these in really quickly. Good morning, caller, you're on the air.
Hey, good morning, Dwight. Good morning, Laverne, and good morning to your guest.
All right, good morning.
Good morning.
You know, I was trying to figure out what the gentleman was saying. I had to call when I heard him saying what he said because I didn't get that from what you guys said. Like you said, I think he is picking points just to find an argument or to make an excuse. But first and foremost, you have to remember, husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave his life.
Amen.
Okay.
Use that first. Then you put down what the problem is that comes up, and your wife is not trying to defraud you if she one night say, listen, I'm not feeling well, or I'm too tired, or whatever the excuse, or it doesn't feel like it, to just let it be. Love your wives as Christ first loved the church. And we would have this argument if these men would debate that point.
Exactly. Amen.
Hold that section holy, alongside what you just said. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Because you won't want that happen to you. So why do it to someone you're supposed to love like Christ loved the church?
Exactly. And a part of loving somebody the way that Christ loves the church is making sacrifices. If your spouse is not feeling well, if you have a spouse who might have been injured and they are not able to perform the way that they would have before, if you have a spouse who's going through a depression, are you seriously going to use you have a duty to me excuse there? I mean, there you should be able to be willing to make sacrifices for a person if you love them, and they are not withholding from you in a malicious way. They are unable to perform the way that they would want to because of their own personal trials and tribulations may be. And as the spouse, you should be able to respect that.
Also, can we once again go back to basics? Proverbs 25:28 says, like a city whose walls are self-control. You mean to tell me one night could kill you if she say no? 2 nights could kill you if you say, if that's the case, then we need to go back to this emotional regulation conversation, because to borrow something that my friend likes to say in conversation, at your big age, you don't know how to control yourself. Wow. There's something wrong.
One more call. Good morning, caller, you're on the air. Are you there? Good morning. Hi, good morning, you're live.
Good morning and a pleasant day to you.
Hi.
Yeah, very hot, complicated topic. Complicated in the sense that once a partner doesn't want to have sex, then that's a serious breakdown in the marriage, and no one should actually want to force him or herself on the other. And usually that's the last resort. At that point, there's no turning back, and that's the end of the relationship. And divorce is the best thing for that one.
Okay. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. We want to get through these texts really quickly. This person's asking, I'm not sure about this first part, but they're asking, what is the male equivalent to a feminist?
A feminist.
A male can be a feminist.
I think.
Well, I think for somebody who's into men's issues.
I
see.
Just a men's rights activist. I don't know if there's a word for it, but can I also say on
I'm
that?
asking, when are you going to have programs that men and women's relationships? I think you are doing that.
Well, yeah, we are. Well, not relationships. We aren't marriage or relationship counselors, but we do. We have so many. We have more young men that are volunteering for the Catherine Florence Initiative than young women, because these young men, young as they are, I'm talking 16, 17 years old, they realize at their young age, before me and Ashley even got to them, that these issues affect us. This is more than just to do with the woman. Like, we had a 14-year-old who said to us, he said, God forbid someone had raped my wife when she was younger and I love her. What am I supposed to do? How do I help her to get over that or get through that? You know what that is? Do you know how high the statistics in this country are that a 14-year-old young boy is thinking about? That is sad. I respect that he's intelligent enough to go there, but it's sad that he has to go there at all.
But on top of that, I mean, in answering the texters' messages directly, we advocate for the rights of men, women, and children. We want to make sure that men and boys have a voice to speak about issues that they might be facing. Men can be raped. Men can be abused.
Men have been raped and abused.
Yes.
But that's why our mission is human rights advocacy. We haven't narrowed it to women's rights. We just began with women's rights because at the time we began writing, it was such a hot marital rape and abortion was such hot topics in this country at the time that we the most prevalent. But that doesn't mean we're stopping there or haven't done work in other areas.
Yeah. We're running out of time, so you're going to have to come back. Well, what is next for the Catherine Florence Initiative?
So we're going to be hosting our second annual fundraiser. We've changed the name. So last year we did Lead Her because we were raising funds for the Bahamas Crisis Center. This year, our young volunteers, shout out to Tiago and Timmy and Kai, they've changed the name for us to the Leaders Talent Show Fundraiser, and they've called it Leaders in Bloom. It's going to be great. It's going to be in December. We'll announce a date the next time that we come back.
Okay.
It's going to go. The funds are going to go towards our youth advocacy program. So we have a few fun activities programmed with our.
A few fun activities planned.
Thank you.
Yes.
With our young supporters, we're going to be doing a fun rewrite of the Constitution based on what they think Constitution should say. We are going to be allowing them the opportunity to shine bright on the stage once more. We're going to be allowing them the opportunity to learn to write with us, and at some point they're going to take over and start writing themselves.
Excellent. Okay, all right. So the text messages are coming in. We got to go though, but I'm just going to leave you with this one. A married woman can't deny her husband sex just because she has a high-tempered husband. Now, if she's in her cycle, making her unclean, then she shouldn't be touched.
Oh wow.
I could respond to that quick.
Really quickly.
Okay, all right. You need to go back to the Bible. Sir or ma'am, whoever wrote that, you need to go back to the Bible. I don't know if Jesus with you there. You need to lock in on your Bible studies. That's all I have to say. Be blessed. And God help your wife if you have one.
Oh, man. Crystal King, Ashley, Hannah, thank you so much. Thank you. Keep the great work that you're doing, the Catherine Florence Initiative, and we're going to talk soon. We'll talk soon.
Thank you for having us.
We'll have you on for a longer time next time. We can really delve into the mindset of our people. Some of our people. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're going to break for news and be back with the Department of Inland Revenue. You don't want to miss that in business coming up in just a bit.
Try to go our separate ways, and we're back and forth like a swinging door, and tomorrow's like yesterday. Some days better than the night before, and you're back with me again. Then you go and tell your friends that your mates never do no wrong. If I'm so awful, then why'd you stick around this long? And if it's the way it's
with RBC. your ideas become plans.
Your plans become memories.
This is retirement.
And your dreams become your life.
Whether it's planning that family vacation, owning your dream home, or retiring comfortably, your ideas are everything. And RBC is here to help make them happen. With RBC, your ideas happen here.
Back to school just got easier at Carey's Fabric and Uniform Store on Mackey Street. We've got school shirts with official embroidered logos for R.M. Bailey, S.C. McPherson, A.F. Adderley, Kingsway, Queens College, L.W. Young, and many more. From shirts and blouses to jumpers, skirts, shorts, and pants, we've got uniforms for almost every school in the Bahamas. So, skip the stress and shop at Carey's today. Call us at 393-0758 or 817-0758. That's Carey's Fabric and Uniform Store, where back to school shopping is a breeze.
Planning for retirement can be over and have to be. We offer tailor-made individual, group, and pension solutions that take the guesswork out of retirement planning. Whether it's for you or your company, don't leave your future to chance and let the trusted hands of CFAL's experts guide you toward peace of mind and financial stability. Low upfront costs and affordable monthly payments make it easy for you to build wealth so you can live well. Visit us at cfal.com to start on your path toward financial freedom. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning and welcome to Morning Blend Business on this Thursday, August 21st, 2025. Welcome back to our Morning Blend listeners. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan along with Laverne Gardner. And this morning we are talking about short-term rentals. Those who might be delinquent in some of the things they need to be doing in terms of the Department of Inland Revenue. We're very pleased to have back with us in studio. It's been a long time since she's been in studio, but Controller Shonda Strachan is with us. Good morning.
Good morning. Always a pleasure to be with you.
Great to see you instead of just hearing you on Zoom, but wonderful to have you with us. All right, so should I do this? Let me read something I got. I got an email a few weeks ago. Oh boy, Avenue Insights and Analytics has been retained by the Department of Inland Revenue, Ministry of Finance, to conduct a review on taxpayers' compliance with the tax laws applicable to short-term rentals. The primary purpose of this evaluation is to identify properties that may be operating without obtaining a business license and or a collection of value-added tax. I'm going to skip ahead. You're receiving this notice because a recent review indicates that you may own or have listed a short-term rental property without registering with the Department of Inland Revenue, Ministry of Finance. If you do not have a business license, are not registered for VAT, or have failed to report tax, then you are out of compliance with the short-term rental requirements. That was emailed to me a few weeks ago.
Okay.
I almost had a seizure. I'm like, what? But it tells you what to do if you feel this was sent to you in error.
There you go.
And I responded, and I got a notice. Thank you for responding. You've been taken off our list. But I still had tons of questions. Good. Who observed this? And how and what's going on here? So I'm so glad that you're here, Shonda Strachan, to explain this, because this is like this.
I'm sure there were several thousand persons that got notices.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, the short-term vacation market is really exploding.
Mm-hmm.
And for the Department of Inland Revenue, it's now very important for us to have everyone in that industry registered. Now, there are two types of registrations, right, which people don't always know. People are always worried about the tax side. Okay, so for Bahamians, they really do need to register on the short-term vacation portal. That's the first thing.
Okay.
Really, all short-term vacation property owners need to register on the short-term vacation portal. That has nothing to do with tax, right?
Why is that important?
Okay, it's important for many reasons. I don't know, but you will recall several months ago, the Ministry of Tourism, Investments and Aviation launched a grant program where they gave out close to $1 million in grants. I think they were $10,000 each to persons in the short-term vacation arena to encourage them to improve their properties and to do other things.
Okay.
So why is it important to register on the short-term vacation portal? It's really for information purposes for the government, to regulate that industry, to be able to assist the industry, to have an idea of how many more beds are needed in other islands, other family islands.
Right.
So right now, the government has a drive on the islands.
Have people been responding? Because I think they might think if I do, I'll be taxed.
No. People have been responding now that they understand that there are two types of registrations that we're talking about.
Right.
So again, as long as you own a property that you're renting, we call it as Airbnb.
Right,
so we say once it's under 45 days that you're renting to guests coming into the country or just short-term vacation rental, you should be registered on the short-term vacation portal. That's free. It doesn't cost you anything, right? And there will be benefits. A lot of the portal is really designed to help the Ministry of Tourism. Some persons complained about, well, y'all a tax department. Why y'all want to know if we have coffee maker and iron in the room? No, that's not for us, right? The portal is not only used by Inland Revenue. It is used to help the government regulate that industry.
Okay.
So that's the first thing. The second thing is you need to determine whether or not you should be registered for tax purposes. Now, if you're a foreigner, or if you're a corporation or a company, you automatically have to be registered, right? But now if you're a Bahamian individual, it depends. It depends on whether or not your turnover is over the $100,000 threshold. So a good example I like to use, Dwight, if you have a vacation, let's say you rent that every single day of the year, 365 days of the year, and you charge $200 a night, you're not going to be registered for tax purposes because in essence, your turnover, it's about $70,000, right?
Okay.
And so you wouldn't need to be registered for tax purposes. But if you are a foreign owner, from the very first dollar that you generate, you have to be registered for business license and also for value-added tax.
Right.
All right, so that's an important distinction to make. So persons want to know why y'all send out those notices to everybody. Okay. We did engage Avenue Insights, as the notice said. And that was done a while ago. That was done from 2023, back then, or 2022. And it was done really to help us with the compliance of foreign property owners, foreign short-term vacation property owners. Because what we see, especially on the family islands, an explosion of properties being rented. However, we are challenged because we're not seeing the level of income we expect to see on the value-added tax side or the business license side that should be coming.
We heard a strange number last week. It was very high. The number of...
well, there are about 20,000 in total, and only about 15% of them are registered for value-added tax. That we need to, we really need to get a grip on the tax. I call it leakages that coming from the short-term arena, but not on the Bahamian side. It's on the foreign side that we're seeing this. So you look at islands like Harbor Island, especially. There aren't any Bahamians renting those properties. They are owned, a lot of those properties on Harbor Island owned by foreigners, but there aren't any Bahamian companies renting them. You go online and you see websites run by realtors outside of the country, but those properties we noticed weren't registered. So we do have an enforcement initiative that persons are going to see in another couple of days that is going to be really implemented on those who are not Bahamian, but who own properties and they aren't paying value-added tax, they aren't paying business license fees, but they're making quite a fortune in the area of short-term vacation rental. Just go on some sites, you'll see some properties being rented for thousands of dollars a night,
Yeah.
right? And that's a concern.
My goodness. All right, so a lot of questions. I just want to go back a little bit. The observations, what would that have looked like? How did they determine that you might have been in the short-term rental?
Oh, okay. So there were several things.
Mhm.
So we did contract Avenue, and what we do is we call it scraping off of the various sites like Airbnb and VRBO. So we do have an estimated number of properties throughout the Bahamas that are being rented. So that's number one. For some of them, it was easy to determine from our real property tax roll who the owners were. But honestly, there are some, especially in the Family Islands, where it was more challenging to determine who owns these properties.
Okay.
Then we noticed that some of them are registered for real property tax purposes in New Providence, but they're not registered as short-term vacation properties, but we see them being advertised on different sites.
Right.
And so the question is, okay, we have this property on, let's say, Tingham Boulevard, and we know it's being rented, but we don't rightly know who the owner is, because when you go on the sites, you don't see the owner's name, but you see kind of the vicinity in which the property is located, and you have an idea, okay, on Tingham Boulevard, there is a blue 2-story property being rented. And so if we have an indication of who could possibly own that property, we sent out emails.
Okay.
And the emails were basically asking you, right? The word may, you may be a property, you may be a short-term vacation owner. And so it's really, for us, we're trying to really segregate the database to know which property owners are Bahamian, which are foreign, which we need to focus on, and that type of thing for tax purposes.
So what's been the response to those emails?
It's been very good. I know
Yeah.
people were annoyed at first until we explained. We should have done a better job explaining ahead of time. But the response has been really good, especially the response that we wanted, which is from the foreign owners coming in to register, coming in to say, okay, yes, I am renting. And so in those cases, there may be some assessments because we may need to go back to do some back taxing. But it's just important for everybody. If you're participating in that arena, you need to let us know.
Right. So for the Bahamians who do have the over $100,000 turnover, what do they need to be doing?
So they should have a business license and should be registered for that, right? So if they are generating over the 100,000, then yeah, they're in business. Of course, business licenses that generate turnovers under the 100,000, you don't pay anything, a threshold that they may have to pay value-added tax, and they're not paying it. They're charging it to the clients that come and stay. So it means that you should be
you know that for a
challenged.
fact, or is that just a
No,
that's Airbnb and Verbo's standard, or how do you know for sure they're doing that?
You should be doing it, right?
okay.
So you should be charging VAT, or your price is considered VAT inclusive. So if you're not charging it as a line, then we're going to consider, if you're charging $100, just a flat $100, we're going to consider that 10% out of that really is value-added tax.
Wow. So what are they looking at in terms of VAT, an estimate in terms of how much they might have to pay?
Again, it depends on the turnover. So it's difficult to say, but again, you average 10% of your turnover is kind of a good estimate, right? If you're over $100,000.
Yeah.
But again, it is an industry that the government is encouraging Bahamians to participate in because it is a good way to generate extra income. And the overhead is low, could be low, right? Depends on how you run the business. And we're not going actively after that arena for Bahamians. Because the idea behind it is that it's supposed to be incentivizing Bahamians to enter that arena.
Right.
We really trying to understand the difference or have an understanding of who is in that arena that are not Bahamians, right? Who's participating? That is not because we want to level the playing field, really. We want to do that.
I know you mentioned Harbor Island, but I mean, do you think the rest of the country, it's mainly non-Bahamians in this?
So I think a lot of it is Family Island properties. I had the really privilege to go to Illusra last week, and you see a whole lot of development going on. And most of the homes that are being built, very large homes being built in certain areas, they are foreign owned. And so if they are being rented, they may not be being rented. But if they are rented, but then there's a tax associated with that rental, right? Because they're competing against the hotels, and really, it's an industry we want to push for Bahamians.
Yeah, you are encouraging it. You don't want to dissuade
Bahamians. We're encouraging Bahamians. We're not trying to tax Bahamians in that arena. We're encouraging Bahamians. That's why we want them to be registered on the portal, because it will help the government determine initiatives they want to do, whether it's help with advertising and promotion. I know there's supposed to be some other grants coming for that arena, so it's important for Bahamians to be registered.
Yeah. Well, we had last week a hotelier talking about this, real estate agent talking about it, that perhaps it's time for folks in the short-term rental market to be able to get some of the tax concessions that the hotels are getting.
We can't give them if we don't know who's in the arena.
Yeah. So is there a number in mind? I know you said it's at least 20,000
We know it's a minimum of 20,000. Wow. That's basically just from the scraping we've done on the online. But a lot of persons, they advertise on their own sites. Like I say, I've seen a lot of foreign realtors advertising Bahamian properties, and it's only Bahamian properties on those sites. And those weekly and daily rates are quite high, alarming, right?
Is there a number you have in mind that you're hoping that after this exercise that you'd reach this threshold or anything like that? Is there a target?
We do have a number in mind, and we're expecting that at the end of this, you should have at least a minimum of 35,000 properties registered.
Okay.
And then we'll determine from that which properties need to be, or the amount of properties that should be taxed, right?
But you're still a ways from that.
We're getting closer.
Yeah.
The notices that you got helped. And I want to thank everybody that responded, especially the Bahamians that said, no, I don't have a property, because that was really helpful to us. They may not think so, but it was helpful. And, sometimes you see the new fancy key locks, all of those things triggered us to know, hold on, okay, these are the types of locks that are used on rental properties. There may be a lockbox in your yard. So there were different things that triggered us to inquire.
Interesting. Okay. We're getting some questions on our text line, and we've got some calls coming in.
Okay.
Let's take some calls. You can call in. We're talking with Shonda Strong with the Department of Inland Revenue. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259, or call us toll free, 242-300-5720, before we go to this call. So again, it was people all across the country that would have received those notices, right?
Not everyone, but if it was a question, something triggered us to ask the question, then we sent notices out.
Yeah. On the air.
Good morning.
Hi.
Good morning, Mrs. Strong.
Good morning.
You know exactly who's calling, I think. It's Carla Sweeting from Bria.
Good to talk to you.
Hello, Carla.
How are you?
Hi. I am so happy that I was in my car when I heard, Dwight, that you were having Miss Strong on, because I think it's so important that the message gets out clear, and certainly you've made it a lot clearer this morning, Ms. Strong, so thank you.
You're welcome.
As you are aware, we as an organization are very concerned with this, and we have provided you information on some of these foreigners that are doing, I call, shenanigans, and cutting out licensed real estate agents and companies who, as you mentioned in the Family Islands, that's a big business. They make a living off of short-term vacation rentals and have been for many, many years. Me being a Brylander, I've seen it all my life. But what I wanted to ask, has there been any consideration for these communities like the hometowns, the licensed people make a living out of these vacation rentals, that if these homeowners are not willing or able or wanting to get a business license and do all of that, can the real estate company do that on their behalf? In other words, let's use Harbour Island. I know of a company that has lost probably 20 or 30 properties to the individual that I had reported to you that has this website, and we know why they lost it is because they required them to pay the VAT, but this guy doesn't. And so, of course, they went on to him. But my question is, if the real estate company, like back in the days before VAT, when they rented a house out, they were responsible for paying the 10% hotel tax to the government every month. Is that something that has been considered or could be considered?
It hasn't been considered, not yet. I don't know if it's something being considered. That's really not Inland Revenue's arena, but we'll certainly raise it in the arenas that can make the decision. But really, for us, we are going to enforce the law around persons that rent tax and business license fees. So
Correct.
That's what you will see happening. So, for example, those properties that you did give us information on, which we were grateful for, that are being rented but were not paying VAT and not paying business license fees, assessments will be done, right? So we will levy assessments on those property owners where they will have to pay value-added tax. Let me put it this way. We will levy the taxes, so the debt will be incurred, and then we will take steps to collect. So that could be a number of different
and
things.
I appreciate that because when I was president the last time, which was the introduction to VAT, we met with government over the same issue, and some of the complaints coming out of especially the high net worth individuals who own these properties. Part of the problem that they had, that they don't have that now, it was that some of these owners never come. They may come for a week and stay in their house, and they would have had to go to Governor's Harbor to do certain things and Nassau to do certain things, and it was very cumbersome. I like the fact that everything can be online
Right,
now.
it's not cumbersome now because everything is
cumbersome now,
online.
exactly.
So there's
And
really no
so-
excuse.
And so they may still be using that as an excuse, but that's no excuse. Thinking is to preserve, because, these short-term vacation rental agents, it's not just about what they make, but they have employees, they have staff, they have maintenance people. It's a lot of employment on these settlements that depend on this, that I don't want these people to suddenly say, well, we're going to sell and leave the Bahamas, because I know that's happening now here in Nassau, especially in the Western communities. And the argument I've been given is, well, why would we stay here? We live in our house. I'll give you an example. As a family whose child goes to a private school out west, they have permanent residence, they live here for the required amount of time, but they only want to rent their house when they go back home for holidays, like Christmas, New Year's, or summertime. Why do we have to go through all of this for renting our house for maybe 3-4 weeks out of an entire year? We could go to Cayman and not have to deal with all of this.
Well, Mrs. Sweeting, they have, right? But at the end of the day, the laws of the country are the laws of the country. And if you rent, if you are a foreigner who own property in the Bahamas and you rent for any period of time, then taxes are due.
Okay.
On board with that. My only question is, I would love if we can consider if the real estate companies can do this on their behalf.
Well, we can talk more about that. We'll talk some more about that.
Okay, I just wanted to raise that. But thank you so much for taking the call and continue to do what you're doing.
Thank you, ma'am.
Carla Sweeting, thanks so much for calling in. So I guess this is somebody's asking, so are you having issues, challenges contacting the foreigners who you believe are in this sector? Are you able to get the emails to them?
Well, we're sending out emails for the addresses that we have. Again, we need to put more boots on the ground, of course, and use our other agencies, our sister agencies, to assist with some things, and that's kind of what we're doing now. So touching bases with the community was the first line, where we just reach out to people to get we've gotten from those emails, which we're grateful for. So we thank our Bahamian people. But yes, in some cases, it's difficult, especially properties on the family island, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes you have a whole house being built and not registered with the Department of Inland Revenue. And so those are the arenas that we're going to focus on going forward.
This text, oh boy. Is your department working with the Department of Immigration to collect information on accommodations?
Yes.
Yes? Okay.
We have started working with immigration.
What does that entail? What does that look like?
Well, it's collaboration with immigration, especially in terms of on landings, right? On persons coming into the country. And even more collaboration will be done with the Department of Immigration because there was a recent change to the owner-occupied exemption. So you have to be in country for a specific amount of days in order to qualify for the owner-occupied exemption.
Wow.
So we are going to have closer relations with the Department of Immigration.
All right. This person's asking if Airbnb already adds VAT to the guest charges so the vacation homeowners don't have to deal with this with the government.
No, and
No, it
that's
doesn't.
vacation homeowners have to be registered. Airbnb is not doing it, right? Airbnb does pay VAT, but they only pay VAT on their commission. So we're not getting value-added tax on the actual cost of the stay, right? And so that's why the owners, that obligation is put on the owners, on the
Wow.
property owners.
Okay. One more call on this, and then we've got some other things we need to talk to Shonda Strawn about. But caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight, and good morning to your guest, Miss. You have a good show.
Good morning.
Thank you.
I have a strange question. The answer is strange, but it's very important. I travel to families of Ireland. I love Eleuthera. There's a lot of shanty towns in Eleuthera renting. And do you have a hold on that, or what you are going to do about that?
When you say shanty towns renting, you're talking about being rented to foreigners as vacation properties?
Well, yeah. Some of them, do you check them out?
Okay, well, we'll definitely be checking them out.
Yeah, you need to check them out. I hang around in Eleuthera.
So,
Right, I love Eleuthera, hang around here, but it's true.
Right. Okay. So we have an office now in Governor's Harbor, Eleuthera, and so I'll definitely be putting them on the lookout for those properties.
That is true.
Registration will be done by the Ministry of Tourism because it's important too that we have a certain standard, right? If we're renting to visitors or just renting to whomever we're renting to, there should be a certain standard.
Yeah.
We don't deal with that, meaning Inland Revenue doesn't deal with that part of it, but it's definitely something that will be needing to be addressed.
So this is posted on a website, and you can go and rent it. Anyway, I can't imagine
I can't
how that
see
works.
it. No.
Wow. The second homeowners are collecting revenue. Something's missing here. I run a business that frequently engages with Inland Revenue. However, the cases are taking weeks to be addressed. Why is that?
Well, it depends on what kind of case. He's not saying what kind of case. I'm not sure. Is he talking about property tax assessments? I'm not sure which type of cases he's talking about. It won't be a VAT case. It won't be a BL case because those are addressed pretty quickly.
Yeah. Okay. So there's something else. If you have any other questions about that, folks, send in your messages. Let me just ask you this before we move on, though. So if you do respond and say, hey, not me, I'm definitely not in this business, but you're not convinced. Is that ever the case? Has that been the case? You don't believe the person? What happens then?
Well, I mean, we don't just go on your reply. So if we're still trying to find the owner of got that notice because there was a particular property that we're looking at, right? We will investigate further, right? And so we will figure it out with the help or without the help. We will figure it out.
Wow. Okay. All right. So there's something else big that's coming. A big change beginning September 1st. Involving liquor businesses. I guess it's a liquor license now.
Licensing. So there was an amendment to the Business License Act in July, and that amendment called for the registration of all liquor businesses. So liquor businesses currently are licensed, right? Or they should be licensed. They are required to get a business license for operation. Now they are required to get something else called a registration certificate. So in order to obtain a business license in the year 2026 or to renew your business license, you're going to have a certificate of registration. Actually, it's already enforced. So for us, starting in September, if you're planning on opening a liquor business, you need to come to us for registration. Registration will mean that with the public. That's the new twist, right? So there's still all of the requirements that existed under getting a business license, the business license side of things. So you're still going to need your physical planning and environmental health. We're still going to consult with the police. But there are going to be some extra steps, one of which includes us publishing notices for public consultation, right? And that's going to be a big thing. So for us, we're going to kind of start the ball rolling in September. We're going to start dealing with all of this.
This is only for new?
Oh, no.
Or everybody?
No. It's for any business that is in the business, sorry for using the word twice, of selling liquor.
So some people
So
who
it's your
do that now.
restaurants, so it does not matter if you're already licensed.
So you could lose this ability to sell liquor
Yes.
going forward
Yes.
based on this.
Yes,
Okay.
you can.
Let's talk about why this is important.
So, Bill, first of all, we know that there's, just so many liquor businesses come all over the place, right? You have these new things called, I think people call them cages, where you just walk up. So I think the whole thought is the amount of businesses that are out there and the areas that they're in. There are lots of complaints now from just neighborhood communities where persons live, complaining about noise pollution, crime. So there's a lot of reasons for it. But really, it's really to get a handle on liquor businesses.
Wow. So you're saying talk to the community, talk to people in the area, publish notices. What do you want to hear from those folks?
Really, if they have any objections, and are those objections grounded, right? What are they based on? Because we will have forms out there for persons that they will be able to fill out if they want to really object, or if they really want to give some sort of feedback behind the notices that we put out.
Right.
So if you already have a business license, then your renewal will be, of course, January 2026 to get your business license renewed. But prior to that, you have to come to us by the 31st of December to apply for registration. And that registration will determine whether or not you're granted a business license in the upcoming year. If you're opening a new business, then the Act requires that 90 days prior to opening that business, that you apply for liquor registration. And like I said, what we're going to have to do is really consult the public and get public feedback and dialogue with the public.
Wow. Okay.
So that's a whole new section and a fifth schedule in the Business License Act that governs what the Department of Inland Revenue has to do in order to issue liquor registration.
Will that be an additional cost, or
there is a cost?
Okay.
So when you apply for registration, if you are a liquor store, wholesale or retail, there's a cost of $100. So it's not a great cost. And then if you are in any other type of liquor business, like a restaurant, then there's a $50 cost. And you really will have to apply for registration for each location, because you have some liquor businesses that have umpteen locations all over the place. And so you'll have to apply for each location. And this is not only New Providence centric, it will be for the entire Bahamas.
Wow. What's been the response so far to this?
Well, we've not started yet, so we've not launched yet. I'm sure we'll have more feedback this month coming, September. But I think by and large, as we begin to sensitize the community, you do have concerns in terms of existing businesses that may not be in the proper location, or the location may be too close to a school, and those questions have been asked. So we'll, make those determinations and go from there once we have our observations.
So we know there are a lot of restaurants that they have a cooler and they're selling. They have to do this.
Right. Like, for example, there should be no takeaway liquor businesses, right? You shouldn't be able to just walk up to a window and purchase drinks and walk or walk out with a cup, or jump in a car with a cup, or drive through and get a cup of anything, right? So those are some of the things that we're going to be looking at. Is the premises suitable for the sale of alcohol?
All right, so you just said that. Does that mean they will automatically not be able to do this anymore, or you still need the feedback from the public to say, well, we're fine with this place having it?
So it's feedback, it's feedback from public, but there's also some other guidelines that are in the fifth schedule.
Okay.
It talks about the location to schools and other other, I guess, establishments like churches and in the neighborhoods. Is the neighborhood zoned for commercial activities? We're seeing a lot of liquor businesses in neighborhoods that weren't necessarily zoned. And a lot of this happened since COVID, right? Where you have houses that have started selling liquor, right? You have, remember when you were small, you used to go buy a cup,
Right.
buy a cup and baggie and salty sausage from the house down the road.
Different type of
But
cup now.
you go in and you really are buying a cup, but it's not, that's not approved, right? Those entities should not be approved for the sale of liquor.
Oh, okay. We got text messages coming in on that, and you can call in as well. 323-62325-4316. 325-4259. Call us toll free, 242-300-5720. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. For those who are thinking this is just a money grab, more ways to get money out of me, what do you say to that?
No, well, really, there's no real money in it, right? $100 is just the cost of the application, processing the application.
You sell two bottles of
it's
that,
not,
and you make that back.
It's not geared toward making money or taxing persons. It's really geared towards regulation and ensuring that we just not inundated with liquor establishments. And I think that's the overall concern.
Wow. Okay. Oh, boy. Well, you mentioned the takeaways. They're saying most of these are a certain type of takeaways. Will they be affected? Of course.
I think they will be, right? I think it's almost guaranteed that they will be affected.
What can we do as residential property owners with loud music coming from establishments on the main road every weekend?
Good. So stay tuned for when the notices are published. Like I said, we're going to start out by just publishing a listing of those registered liquor businesses, and that gives the community or the public, general public, an opportunity to begin giving us their feedback. We will be launching a portal so that it will be giving a feedback easy, and so those things you'll be hearing more about in the upcoming month. But definitely we're going to welcome the feedback of persons who have been complaining for quite a while. And then really the act gives the Department of Inland Revenue the ability. Back in the day, we used to, when there was a liquor licensing act, there were hours of operations, and sometimes we put stipulations on licenses.
Right.
We got away from doing that, right? When the Liquor Licensing Act went away, was repealed. And so now with the registration, if we see, for example, a certain, let's say, restaurant or establishment that has lots of complaints for loud music, then it could be that we put a restriction. We may not shut the business down. That's not our intent. We're not trying to, penalize in terms of cutting back on persons' income. But what we are trying to do is make sure that the community is safe for everybody and everybody is able to enjoy where they live, right? So it may mean that we put a stipulation regarding hours for music and dance, or say no music and dance, or no music in this establishment. The restaurants are open to the air and the noise just travels, versus those that have enclosed walls and the music is contained. So that has been a challenge, and there have been more and more complaints around loud music.
We're talking with Shunda Strong with the Department of Inland Revenue. Okay, this person, interesting questions here. What if the liquor business was there first and then churches and schools popped up around it?
Well, then we'll see. I can't answer that right now, but it'll be something that we look into.
Wow. And then proximity, what if you are a few doors down or diagonal? How will you determine whether this is too close?
Yeah, there are regulations as regarding how many feet you could be from a school and all those things. So those existed before, right? And so those are some of the things that we're going to go back to. But of course, with this, there is an avenue for appeal that goes outside of Inland Revenue. So if, business owners aren't satisfied with the decision, there is an avenue they have to appeal or to challenge the decision of the Department of Inland Revenue.
This person is asking who's monitoring the prevalence of churches. Oh, boy. Well, they are. Anyway, let's leave that there. Is it legal for a bar to run a car wash in front of it?
whatever. Do they have a license for that? No. A bar to run of it. I'm assuming maybe in the yard or something. I don't know.
And then it's getting into some other stuff. They have a lot of people they say are undocumented workers. Wow. Okay. I don't know how you would know. And yeah, so it's getting into that. Wow. And they're selling food and only hire illegals and foreigners, and they have lots of garbage in the front of it. Oh, boy. Okay. I think you better call the police.
So if it's garbage they're talking about, it's environmental health. If it's illegal immigrants they're talking about, it's immigration. So I'm sure they would love those tips. And as a concerned citizen, I would thank them for those tips.
Recently, a person was audited by Inland Revenue, and Inland Revenue determined that they owed a substantial amount of money. The person felt otherwise and was able to prove so. There is a law that the only way they could object was to pay the sum that Inland Revenue said they owed. How is this fair? And do they get the money back in cash?
Okay, so two things. They said, yes, it is. Okay, so before we even get to the place of objecting, there's a whole series of reviews that we go through, dialogue that we go through with the taxpayer. And so they are given many opportunities to present information to challenge what our beliefs are. So if you've gotten to the appeal, a decision by the Department of Inland Revenue, they do need to secure or they need to pay. Pay or secure, give us security for the amount of the tax before they go to the Appeals Commission. Oh, wow. So that's what the law says. That's what the taxpayer is talking about. And yes, of course, if they win their appeal, the funds are or the security is given back, right? Because that would mean we didn't win, or that would be the decision made by the Department of Inland Revenue would have been overturned by the court. So definitely they would get the money back if they win the appeal.
Right. Okay. This section says here, my husband owns a business, pays his business license, and now he's being told that he can't get his license until he pays half for next year. I think, anyway, please answer what's happening here.
Well, it can't be next year because 2026, we've not done anything for 2026 yet. Now, business license requires you to give an estimation at the start of the year. And so once you give that estimation, for example, in January of 2025, to get the 2025 license, you would had to have given us an estimation on the taxes you expect to generate this year and the taxes based on that. But you also had to do something else. You would had to have gone back and told us or confirmed the amount you earned for 2024. So when you, in the beginning of the year, when you apply for a particular year, you're doing two things. You're confirming what you made in the previous year and you're giving an estimation of the current year. So I don't know if that's what the taxpayer is talking about, because if her husband underreported or made more than he thought for the previous year, then there would be additional tax relating to that year. And then, of course, he would also have to pay the license fees for the current year, the 2025 year. And because people receive two bills in that particular case, they sometimes see it as though they're being taxed twice or they're having to pay for an upcoming year when that's not the case.
Right. Well, okay. And we're running out of time. Somebody's asking about real property tax and how to get the senior discounts.
Okay. Well, that's an easy one.
That's pretty easy.
So it's just a matter of them proving to us that they're a senior by giving us either some sort of government ID that shows their birth date, and then we apply the senior's discount. So they can go online to do that, or they can come into the department, and we're happy to do that. We're happy to work with our seniors.
And that doesn't take too long to get sorted out. No.
Yeah.
Okay. And if people want more information, especially about the changes coming after September 1st, what should they be doing?
Well, John's here holding to tell me that, of course, Inland Revenue is on all the social media platforms. So in his words, there's Twitter and all Instagram and all these things. And of course, we have our Inland Revenue website. And so social media, we respond pretty quickly to, because sometimes I know persons are challenged getting into us with our phone lines. We are trying to improve our phone systems. It's not just the humans that are causing the issue. We do have some technical challenges that we're working through. So we respond pretty quickly on social media as well. So if you're having a challenge calling in, then of course you can go to any of the social media platforms. We're on all of them.
Wonderful, wonderful. Shonda Strachan, thank you so much for coming in today. It's so great to
Always a
see you.
pleasure.
Always great talking with you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And thank you for all the work that you're doing at the Department of Inland Revenue. Hopefully we'll talk again soon. Hi, Laverne Gardner. Thank you for being here this morning. Appreciate you and talk with you.
Thank you.
Next week, I'll be back tomorrow morning with more Morning Blend and Morning Blend Business, brought to you in part by CFAL, growing wealth for future generations. Pick up today's NASA Guardian for the business section for the latest in business news. And stay tuned for On the Clock with Aaron Green coming up next.
At CFAL, we understand that a secure future is the greatest gift you can give your employees. That's why our tailor-made group pension solutions are designed to fit the needs of both large and small companies. You and your employees deserve, ensuring peace of mind and financial stability for years to come. Join the many businesses that have already entrusted CFAL to create the right pension plan for their employees, and let us help you build a brighter future for your team. Visit us at cfal.com to get started on building wealth so you can live well. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Street, has those hard-to-find fasteners for you right now. You can find stainless steel regular hex, carriage bolts, galvanized bolts, threaded rods, nails, self-tap screws, sex bolts, anchor bolts, turnbuckles, masonry tools, hand tools, and weed whacker strings. Check out the rope selection and car body fasteners too. Special orders are welcome. It's your #1 fastener store. Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Streets. Call 326-1976.
For fast, reliable, and impactful printing services, look no further. Let Printmasters bring your masterpiece to life. We stand by our quality products that is second to none. Our affordable pricing and friendly, efficient staff makes Printmasters the ultimate choice for all your printing needs. We can deliver any type of printing services, from banners to booklets to business cards, you name it.
Let Printmasters bring your masterpiece to life.
Located in the Nassau Guardian Building, telephone 302-2361.
Who's the real MVP of the soil, the hero of the harvest? The Agrarian Awards 2025 is here, and we want you to nominate the farmer who's growing greatness in your community. 8 categories up for grabs and a chance to win up to $50,000 in cash prizes. Brought to you by the Ministry of Agriculture and Marine Resources and the Agricultural Development Organization, honoring the hands that feed the nation. Visit adobahamas.org to submit your nomination for the Agrarian Awards 2025.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com.